You're listening to the Did You Hear Show.
Yo, morning, folks.
With your host, Jason Garvey.
Yo, what's happening, folks? Welcome back. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Jay Farrell, to me right. Jay, what's happening?
Not a whole lot, brother. How are you?
Not too bad. And on the left, we have Martin on the decks. Martin, what's happening, brother?
Fuck all, lads. What's the story?
And our guest today is the one and only Sparky. What's happening, man?
Absolutely stitched up here.
Come here, I'm gonna jump straight into it. So I was texting a friend of ours, and he said you're very nervous coming on the show. Is that true?
I'm definitely out of my comfort zone, but I wouldn't say that someone knows that I'm very nervous.
Well, he goes by the name of Jamie Conroy. He texted me last night. He said you're fucking shitting yourself.
That's not true.
To put it bluntly.
So tell us, what are you nervous about, Specs?
I wouldn't say I'm nervous now. To be honest, I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I'm definitely out of my comfort zone. I think I do a lot of coach education, working for the association, and a lot of time I'll be telling coaches about stepping outside their comfort zone, and you only grow outside your comfort zone and stuff like that. This for me is definitely outside of that comfort zone. And
is that what, Martin, just hear his mic up to top volume, will you? Blue he is. Is that what led you to do it then, just to step out of the comfort zone?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Look, you asked me, so that was the first reason why I said I'd do it. I definitely wasn't coming looking for it. But no, definitely, look, it's something that, as I say, I'm always sort of preaching, so you got to kind of practice that, and for me, it's just an opportunity to be outside that comfort zone, do something that I've probably not really done before. So,
would public speaking, sorry Jay, would public speaking not be something that you would have been used to though with your line of work?
Oh yeah, no, public speaking, no problem. In a room with people, no problem. And in probably 2 or 3 minutes time, this will be no problem.
Yeah.
But just the whole idea of sitting
the camera
in the studio,
and microphone and all.
Being told a half an hour ago that's live and stuff like that.
I thought you knew.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought you knew.
If it makes you feel better, Sparky, I'm looking at the cameras, mate, and you look great.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate that.
Look smashing.
But look, you had no problem being on the vlogs. You fucking never got out with them fucking things. So you love the camera then. So I thought this would be a piece of cake for you.
Yeah, no, that was a different life. That was a different life.
Oh, stop. Right, so Sparky, I guess we'll fucking start from the start. So obviously, how I know you grew up on the same road as me as kids. We were fucking...
Yeah,
what the fuck was that? Holy shit, that was loud, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we grew up together. Probably my best friend for fucking years. But what I wanted to start off with, lads, and this is something I want to say to you, is right. This is how soon Sparky was kind of... Like, Sparky is known for, being in a pure routine, like, do you know what I mean? Having everything in place, real organised. He's been like that for years, right? And here's where to start. Tell me if I'm wrong. You probably aren't even going to trigger this, right? But me and Ian, every time we finished school, first thing we done, we threw our bag in and we ran up and off for Sparky. We'd be left waiting outside for 10 minutes, at least, sometimes 20. Every time we knock up, and we know that we're going to be left waiting outside, but we still go up straight after school and knock on his door.
Right.
The cunt was structured. He had to watch Barney. And there was no if buts about it. Even if it's an episode he had already seen, he had to watch Barney. And it was like, Sparky, come on, you can watch Barney later. No, he had to watch fucking Barney.
It's mad that you said it, right? Because obviously, me and Sparky were due to go to Florida for WrestleMania.
Oh, tear
but even at that, right?
Oh, tear already. No,
but like that. And it is very well done because we had
hold on, Jay. Technical difficulties. Martin, is the audio showing up on OBS?
We can actually moving up,
Yeah?
Yeah. What technical difficulties is it?
I don't know. Megan, what's the issue there?
Is it because it's dark or because the light is off, maybe?
It could be. Megan, let us know. Sorry, Jay, I didn't mean to cut across you. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't go halfway through the episode with something being wrong. Megan, let us know, or anyone else let us know if anyone's having any issues there. It seems to be okay in Ireland.
We're a bit snookered at the minute now, aren't we?
Yeah. I hate how do we get pure paranoia. She's probably winding me up because she knows how I am at this stage, you know what I mean? But go on, Jay, sorry.
No, we would just have, it was all very well organised. Do you know what I mean? So it's mad that you said, he has routine. Because I noticed that from when we were obviously going to go, we had it literally mapped out what we were going to do. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So one day, obviously, we were doing the
What
theme
was it called?
parks.
An itinerary, is it? Is that what's
An
called?
itinerary, wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it was all very well mapped out. Like, so, like, fucking Universal and all studios one day, fucking this water park, whatever. And then we go to the Hall of Fame. And then we'll do something that day, and then we'll go to WrestleMania that night or something. Do you know what I mean? But it was very well laid out.
I know
But
he's
it's mad you
always
said it.
Yeah,
he's
but
always been like that.
Jay,
Like.
you need that structure in your life because when we were on video call today at like 4 o'clock, you were still in bed.
Yeah, true story.
You need that structure, mate.
Martin, you actually look
I
great
had a rough night last night, Martin. All thanks to
You
you.
did have a rough night, yeah, to be fair to you.
But yeah, Sparky, we have a few funny stories as kids. I mean, we got up to some mischief. One being, tell me if you remember this one. So there was a time we hung around my brother as well, Ian. Yeah,
Right.
me, Ian and Sparky. That was the trio. Clancy ended up entering later on. Wrecked our head. We just let him join in. Come on, stall it. But there was a time where we were fucking. I don't know what we were fixing. We had a bike shop where we used to charge people for fixing their punctures on their chains and all. Out me ma's back, we had it. I think we wrote on cardboard saying bike shop and all. And we used to charge people to bring their bikes and we used to fix them.
Little
But
entrepreneurs, ways.
I think Sparky had 2 or 3 bikes in his garage and we went over to get them. And I don't know, was it you that put that hand, that said, what's this? Basically, I'm blaming you anyway because it looks better if it was you. But there was a wheel and there was an envelope in the wheelbarrow. And Sparky opens the envelope and sees a shitload of money, right? I'm talking, it was the guts of £500 easily, right? And he just looked at us and we all started jumping up and down with excitement. You know, fucking you had to find the 500. Not for 1 second did we think Sparky's dad probably owns that. Do you know what I mean? He was literally just after getting his garden done or something, wasn't he?
I don't remember the context of it. I remember the wheelbarrow, I remember the envelope, and I remember the reaction. I do not remember the context around. I couldn't even tell you why we were messing around with wheelbarrows or what the crack was.
No, but I think that's what it was. I think we were just passing by the wheelbarrow in the shed with the bikes. We were putting the bikes back after fixing them or something. But we found...
We just come across a wad of cash.
Yeah, a wad of cash, right? And we're all excited as fuck. We're all buzzing. Like I said, not for 1 second did we think this might be Sparky's dad's money. Not for 1 second did we think that, right? So we're all fucking buzzing. And Liffey Valley was open about 6 hours, I'd say. It had only opened, right? I don't know whether, Martin, you probably remember, Jay, you're probably a bit too young. Do you remember?
He's only 2 years older than me.
I know, but no, that's it was probably only there for 2
I
years.
remember Liffey Valley.
Do you remember
Yeah.
Quicksilver?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You do,
remember.
yeah?
Yeah.
Right, sorry,
Do you
Jay.
remember the Warner Brothers shop? You could go in and just play in it.
I'll get to that story next. Right? But we went and spent fucking Jesus, God knows what. What age would we have been?
I'd say I've got to be 11 plus because
You wouldn't have been allowed to fill you out. We were only around 11, 12 when it opened, weren't we?
I could be younger than 11 now saying that. I don't know if I was living with my father in Oldfield at the time or not. So I'm going to say 10 or 11 I was, so that puts you 2 years older than that. So you should have had more sense than me. You should have got the money back.
I just jumped on the opportunity with cash, but basically we went over to Liffey Valley, lads, right? And I swear to God, we were like fucking celebrities. At least that's what we thought we were, right? We went in. I don't know. I think it was JBB Sports at the time. It wasn't
JJB.
Yeah, something like that. We went in. We all bought brand new tracksuits. Didn't even put them in the bag. We put them on us straight away. Went over to Quicksilver, which is basically a fake jewellery stand in Liffey Valley, and I think we spent about £200 between us all on fake jewellery, and we were walking out with sovereigns and rings, new tracksuits, loads of bags, and we thought we were the dog's bollocks walking home until we realised we had to walk through Hairlawn. Then we're like, fuck that. This'll get...
That's not a fucking easy estate to walk through when you're flashing.
Not when you're a kid either. We used to get punched around because we were from the private estate, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just remember snapping because I got fucking oil on me bleeding brand new tracksuit. Jumping the Colquitt Wall, which was the next route that we had to go. It was either Hairlawn, get punched around, or get in some form of fight, or get a bleeding little Rottweiler or a bleeding...
Rottweiler.
The cats in Hairlawn chased you, for fuck's sake. That's how bad it was,
The
right?
dodgy estate.
Or else it was the Colquitt. So we used to take the Colquitt route. So anyway, we come back up. All our bags are fucking sovereigns, feeling like we're 50 pence. Image of Mokor. And... all of us walk into our gaffs. My dad straight away, you robbing bastard. Where the fuck did you get that money? Me and Ian got punched around. We found it down in the park. We went over to Sparky. Sparky's dad was fucking calm as you like. Not about we just find the money. We found it down the cocoa. Go on, I'll let you tell the rest.
I just remember of it. You're right. He was as calm as you like, but he made us walk through it step by step, exactly where we walked. Exactly where we found the money, what colour envelope it was. He knew well that it was his money, it was his envelope, and that it was from the shed. And we done our best to convince it was down here in the park, and we walked this way, and Jay went here, and I done this, and then this happened. And was it a brown envelope? No, it was a white envelope. It was a white envelope.
So the envelope was brown. You know the brown envelope with the little see-through
Yeah, the window in it.
Yeah, the little window in it. And then as soon as, like, me and Ian were there when Sparky was being quizzed about it, and me and Ian were kind of just, expanding on Sparky's answers. Sparky, no, it was white. Yeah, it didn't have a window either. There was no window. Definitely no window on it. Pure something you'd see in an American film that they're trying to hide something. Yeah. But that's exactly how we were. But in fairness to him, he didn't fucking say anything.
No, he knew well. He knew well that it was his money, and that it was his envelope. And don't worry, he still has it on me to this day. But no, in fairness to him, he let us away with that one.
Was Jay the instigator in spending the money?
Always. Oh, he was the older one.
Yeah,
he was. I didn't even get a
But
chance.
Ian was older than me.
No. You had more sense than him.
Obviously not. But no, it was gas because he let us slide, like, and I think half the reason he let us slide was because I'm nearly sure the gardeners or the builders that were doing the work said they lost it. So it wasn't really Fred losing out.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think that's more
he wasn't
why.
out of pocket, like.
Yeah, I think that's why he let us slide, but he definitely questioned it.
Because it's kind of only piecing together here to me now.
Yeah.
But disclaimer, we didn't know it was anyone else's money, alright? It was just money that we found.
That's 100% genuine. We didn't know, but
Your
we
kids.
also didn't think.
No, when you're kids and you find a wad of cash, what do you do? Go search for who owns it, or you go and spend it in the shop? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of do and ask for forgiveness later. You know?
We went to pictures. We fucking going to pictures
You
back
balled
up.
out basically.
Oh, unbelievable! Like going to pictures for us as kids wouldn't have been something we done often at all. Like McDonald's was probably a once a month. The pictures was probably
McDonald's was birthdays.
Do you know what I mean?
I remember when I got my first McChicken sandwich. It was 11 to 12. Oh, it was my 11 to 12 birthday for years. Like, I want a McChicken sandwich meal. No, you get the kids meal. You get the kids meal.
See, you know he was spoiled. I was about 18 when I got my first McChicken sandwich.
Other kids are dreaming of playing for United and all, and Sparky's dreaming of a McChicken sandwich. I just want a McChicken sandwich.
But no, that just that story alone sums Fred up. Do you know what I mean? Like Fred would have been like a father to me as well. Do you know what I mean? Like he brought us down to Wexford, and my ma would have never had much money. My ma and dad broke up, and Fred always, if I ever ran out of money, he'd always chip in, and always, never question it until I started pissing in his BMW.
Is this another story?
It sounds like a euphemism, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is this like
No, boys, right, the first time, so Sparky used to go to Wexford all the time, and I used to beg and play to go down, and Fred used to hate me asking could I go down, because every time I stayed in the gaff, I pissed the bed. So his head was wrecked thinking, what are you looking at?
I was just checking the comments, making sure audio's good.
His head was wrecked. Always thinking, if we bring this little pissy cunt down, he's going to piss all over the place. You know what I mean? Every time I stayed in Sparky's gaff, I pissed myself. But,
why?
It must have been a nervous thing or something. I pissed the bed up till I was about 16. Honest to God. I actually pissed on one of my girlfriends before.
Was she into that, was she?
I don't know.
That's some Eminem Mariah Carey.
I just blamed it on being drunk, I think.
There was a glass table between them at the minute. She's just into kinky stuff.
But, I must have clicked something there.
Anyway, go on. You are pissing the fucking BMWs.
Yeah. So I used to beg him to go down, and finally he said, "Right, we'll bring you down. Get your spending money and all." I think I went off to him. We were going for 3 days or something. I said to me, "Man, Mark, get spending money." He probably gave me £15 or something. Fred, for fuck's sake. But we went down anyway, and we pull into this big lovely house, and I'm like, "Lovely. This is what I can't wait to stay here." And then Fred goes, no, that's not where we're staying. I'm like, where are we staying? He said, down there. I was like, down where? He's like, down there. This thing was literally, it's like a duplicate of the fucking Father Ted caravan.
It was a little bit bigger. It was a little bit bigger.
Slightly bigger. Literally slightly bigger. But not only that, it was down a ditch, right? So it was off the side of a house, off the side of a mansion.
You had to go past this big swanky place in order to get to your
It
real
was
destination.
in the big swanky place. It was in the premises of the swanky place, right? I think your auntie owned that gaff, did she?
My father's auntie, yeah.
Yeah, so he had this little plot of land, right? The smallest plot of land you'll ever see. And the grass was grown out of the roof of the bleeding caravan. He literally had to go into caravan and cut the grass so we could sleep in it. That's how bad the caravan was. What was the like, Sparks, honestly?
Father Ted's one way of putting it. No electricity, no running water. The toilet had a hole in the ground that if you went to the toilet, God knows what was gonna come up. If it wasn't a rat, it was a bird, it was a spider, it was everything. The thing was wrote off. That was actually that at the stage we were going to Wexford and we were staying in that caravan. Like that caravan had outlived, 2 families' welcomes.
Yeah.
So it was already should have been long gone. But
Is that gone now?
yeah, it was
fucking
demolished.
hope so.
It was demolished, yeah. But it was half the fun. It was half the fun.
It was.
That was
The memories we have in that caravan.
you get away from everything, and even nowadays when I go to Wexford and you get away from kind of the internet and stuff like that. But back then, like, you were getting away from the television and you were getting away from that sort of stuff because we didn't have electricity, we didn't have a television. So what did you do? You hung out at the roof of BMWs and all sorts of other stuff that we got onto,
So this is another story, right? But just while we're on that caravan real quick, like, there was spiders bigger than dogs in this caravan. And I am terrified of spiders. So back to the pissing in the BMW. That's how it ended up happening. I said, fuck am I staying in that caravan? Me bollocks, there's grass growing out with me fucking pillow. There's spiders sleeping beside me. There's a hole in the jacks. And the covers were like,
Damp, basically.
you ever leave like a sheet out in the winter and it's freezing and it's just like a brick. You lift these covers up and you hear the cracking. Do you know? So I said, fuck this, I'm staying in the Beamer. And first time down there, fucking
Pissed all over.
pissed in his Beamer. Denied it to the ground
Now,
as well.
come here.
No, we didn't. I definitely didn't
Was
piss.
it safe to say you weren't invited back?
No, he actually
Nah, he was invited all the time.
always brought
Come
me
here,
down. yeah.
even when he stayed in the house up in Dublin.
You still
Like-
pissing the bed?
Oh yeah, all the time. And I wouldn't like Garvey's staying over. Oh Jesus! I was like,
Get
yeah,
the spare
yeah.
sheets out.
Oh, they wouldn't. The next morning, he wouldn't even say good morning. He'd just lift up the sheets and have
It's like a fucking scene in Big
Just
Daddy.
see
Was
that.
it just get the newspaper, put the bleeding?
Yeah.
I'm nearly sure the cunt out of bleeding. You know, one of them plastic sheets from me then at one stage. Garvey's coming. Yep, get the plastic sheet out. Oh, stop fucking. I can only imagine, like, obviously us being parents now, if our kids were doing, I'd be going mad, do you know what I mean?
They'd be
Yeah,
sleeping
that-
in a nappy or something or on the floors.
But back to the Beamer, right? So, pissed in the Beamer. I don't know where the fuck. Like, as kids, we got up to just mad shit. Like, shit that kids these days just would never even think of. Like, obviously there was no phones and, do you know what I mean? We just had to use our imagination all the time, so... Sparky, I'm 99% sure it was his idea. Like, can we hang out with a sunroof? Fucking go on, hang out with a sunroof. I'm like, what? So him and his cousin Simon get up on the fucking sunroof, right? Hold onto the sunroof, and Fred's driving down the road, right? So I'm like, right, Fred's driving about 12, it'd be grand. I'm like, I might get up myself, bit of crack, you know? And then I just look at the clock, and the clock's just constantly moving up. Now, these are country roads. This isn't like a straight, like in a garden or. These are country roads. Traffic driving past us and all.
Traffic driving past.
60. 70. 80. No, right, Fred, slow the fuck down. You're going too fast. Sparky and Simon, yeah! Then Fred hits it. Fred hits a boom. Ah, the two of them hanging off with their life on the fucking sunroof of the car. I swear to God, I fucking shit myself, right? Simon hanging off. Fred, Sparky grabbing Simon, trying to get him back on. Fred, still driving on about that town, didn't give a fuck. Anyway, he finally found sense somewhere along the line.
Slowing
And he
down.
goes, start slowing down. My heart was in me throat. I never witnessed that like in my life. I'm like, Fred, you mad fucker, like, don't do that. So the boys are shitting themselves to get back in the car. And then we drive back down to the house. Oh, Dad, let's get back on for another minute. I'm like, lads, don't do it. Two of them get back on again. Fred rips up the fucking gaff, pulls a handbrake at the top of the road. Sparky comes flying off it. What, did you break your arm or your shoulder or something?
No, my ankle. I didn't break it now, but it was rightly swollen up. That was the end of it actually, because the whole time when we came back up to Dublin then, and my ankle was swollen, and he'd be saying about his missus, you know, don't tell her that happened playing football. Don't tell her that happened, you know. Well, if you go back to that, the difference in Fred from start to finish on that, Fred's probably going to come out of this horrifically, but he's actually all right. But we used to want to sit on the boot of the car. That was the start of it. So
Right.
the boot would be open and we'd sit in the boot out the back. That was the start.
Right.
And even that was not safe enough at the start, you know. And then you push the limit. So I say, we'll close the boot down, we'll sit on the boot and we'd hang out, you know, with our hands behind us. And Fred would be like, no. Oh, we'd be grand, Fred. Come on. So Fred being Fred, yeah, all right, go ahead. And then we end up at the bleeding. He gets the other BMW with the sunroof. And then what's the next thing you do after going to on the boot? You get on the roof, you know. And it just was one thing to another. But I'm fairly certain that it ended after his son falls off the roof after he pulls a handbrake, you know.
Would you reckon there was a point where he just sat down there and says, right, my parenting decisions aren't great at the minute? Do you know what I mean?
do you know
Probably
what?
gonna
No,
happen.
because I
honestly-
wouldn't change that, and I don't think he
No,
would
I
either.
know.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they're
I think he
memories
was
for
just
you.
having, like he was just having the crack. He was like
Yeah, I'd say
the
so,
cool uncle, the cool father, the cool, you know, he was just always trying to push the boat. When all the other parents wanted to just go to the beach or wanted to just go for a drink, he was like, right, what can we do next, you know? let's-
rally down the motorway.
Yeah,
with the kids on the
absolutely.
sunroof.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, but that's the thing. Like, Fred actually taught me how to drive. He taught you how to drive. Obviously, he's your dad down in Wexford Beaches. Like I'm in 11 years of age driving a BMW on a beach, not a bother. But this is what Fred was. Fred was like, he always put the kids first. Do you know what I mean? Right. He didn't go down to Wexford like the way, let's say, the parents do now. They go down to have a drink and to get a break. Like, Fred brought us down to Wexford.
It was your time, like.
It was always about us, constantly. Whether it be golf, which he enjoyed himself, the arcade. Jesus Christ, I can only imagine the amount of money we spent in them. Like,
I was down there recently and dropped 25 quid in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
And we were doing that
down
consistently.
there all summer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what sort of money he was giving us or how shrewd we were with our money.
We very rarely had to go back to him.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
The very odd time. But, like, you know, lads, you have kids now. If even little things like Fred bringing us swimming. He used to bring us swimming at least once a week.
It'd be like that itinerary that Jay was talking about WrestleMania. It'd be like an itinerary. So
Yeah.
you'd have the beach, you'd have
No, but
swimming,
I'm
you'd have
talking
quadding.
even in Dublin. Even in Dublin,
yeah,
he used
yeah,
to
yeah.
like he used to bring us swimming all the time, and I bring Toylan and Amelia swimming the all time, and that's a fucking nightmare. I'm like, we're ready, and Fred was doing that with 4 people off the road. Do you know what I mean?
That's good, though. It is. It's deadly. It makes for a good childhood, do you know what I mean?
Unbelievable. Like,
Clearly, like, you're going back to it now, it triggers so many memories.
all
do you
of
know what I mean?
my best memories as a kid are with Sparky and Fred. 100% hands down. And I'm going to finish off with this one. The funniest moment of my life. Literally, still to this day. I've never had pain so much in my ribs, right? Now, this isn't going to sound one bit funny, by the way, right? Sparky had... So, Sparky originally lived up the road. We'll touch on this now after this and start getting into the more serious stuff. Sparky originally lived up the road, and then I think they bought the house across the road then when the neighbours moved out, and he had a spare kind of dining room that there was never anything in it. So we had, you know, the carpet balls, you know, the green balls that like felt like carpet.
Yeah.
Sparky had one of them, and we used to play proper football in his back dining room. Don't know how we never smashed the windows
Who
because
calls that a carpet ball, by the way? It's an indoor
It's an
football.
indoor
Football, yeah.
I thought it feels like carpet. We don't fucking know. But anyway, we used
Dreams
to.
were made with them.
This was our little fun room. Like, we used to just play football in there all the time, tennis, whatever. That's where we went all the time. And one day I went in, I said, my dad always plays this game with me. I love it. Like, it's deadly. We should play it. And he was like, go on, explain the rules to me. So I said, basically, me and Sparky have to get on our hands and knees, and we just run around. on our hands and knees, and you have to try and stand on the edge of our sock, right? And when your sock comes off, you lose a life, right? And then we done it again, and then when your second sock comes off, you're on. So you're chasing the socks next, yeah?
So, right, let me get this straight, just for context.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone here's on their hands and knees, not to try and catch you, like, or whatever, to try and get your sock off or something.
Right. So you're only allowed to use your feet, right? So we're all crawling around on our hands and knees, yeah, with our socks on, yeah?
Yeah.
So hands and knees, yeah? We're crawling around with our socks on. You have to, let's say, get your big toe at the end of my sock.
So like that or something?
Yeah, and when I go to crawl, my socks will come off.
What the fuck
Right.
is he was playing?
Now, listen, this game was the dog's bollocks, right? So it was only me and Sparky, right? And I explained this game to him and he said, that fucking sounds stupid, sounds shite, right? Fred is used to hanging out with BMWs and fucking loads of other shit, right? So anyway, me and Sparky have run around literally for about 15 minutes now. 15 minutes not being caught is a long fucking time, right? Yeah. So we're breaking our bollocks laughing that he can't catch us. And he ends up fucking snapping saying, this game is fucking stupid. It's pointless. It's fucking impossible. I'm not fucking playing. So he goes to Fred. Fred, it's not watch. You get down and I'll be the person on, right? So he gets down and we literally count down from 5 and he goes running and literally within 2 seconds I had his two socks off. And it was just so funny because he went mad that he couldn't get our fucking socks off. And then literally 2 minutes into the fucking game, we had his both socks off. It was fucking hilarious. But these are the stupid little stories that we had growing up that I will absolutely never forget. And they're endless, aren't they, Sparky? Like, there's literally... Can you think of one off the top of your head that stood out?
No, I can't.
That's fucking
If I go to the caravan, the one that sticks out, I'm not going to talk about games or anything, but the caravan and spiders.
You don't want to know the games that happened in there.
And all that kind of... Well, we used to have this actually, we did have a game in the caravan where the bed was a fold-up bed.
Does this include the Skyrim Hope?
No.
This is going to sound so shady. A fold-up bed and a Skyrim Hope, and Sparky doesn't want to talk about it.
No. There was a fold-up bed in the caravan. Now, this thing was retro. I don't even know how it stood up or how it folded up or whatever, but it was basically a really small double bed that folded up into the closet so that the caravan had some space to live in. And we used to always challenge ourselves to see how many people we could get into it and close it up at the same time. And no word of a lie, 2 people nearly came to death inside it. While my father thought that this was great, that we're at beating the world record of how many people could get inside this fold-up bed in the caravan. But if I say about the caravan, if we're talking about memories in the caravan and stuff like that, I don't know why we started to sleep in the BMW or in the cars, but it was probably around the time of, we get down to Wexford and there's an awful smell in the caravan. I was saying, what's that bleeding smell? And it's, Fred, that's the country, it's grand, you're grand. I said, no, there's something not right in my bed here. And the bed was kind of like a little bunk that was, just for everyone to kind of sit on.
Either side of the window in like a caravan.
Yeah, it's really narrow. So, I'm moving the stuff around in the bed. It's just awful smell. I'm checking behind the curtains and, you're grand, you'll be grand. There's no smell. Put a bit of air freshener in there, whatever, And Fred would be constantly onto you, like, because you were afraid of spiders or you were afraid of anything, And the caravan had everything living in it.
This is the easiest going man you'll ever meet, and you're constantly moaning, so I reckon is that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd go to sleep the first night, and I'm saying to myself, there's something not right here. The bleeding smell of this bed. And Fred is constantly going on to me, will you stop giving out about the... And I said, no, there's something not right. And I put my head down to the pillow. This after sleeping on it for one night. Put my head down to the pillow. It's in the pillow, whatever it is. The smell's in the pillow. Fred says, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with the pillow. And he pulls the pillow apart, and inside is a dead bleeding rat. Who was at the half eating itself before it killed itself. It obviously got stuck inside the pillow, couldn't get out, and ended up eating itself away. And I spend the night sleeping on it, and the outlet says, what are you going on about? There's no bleeding smell in here. So that's what he gets. Garvey pisses in his BMW for letting us sleep with bleeding rat-infested pillows.
So if any of us have rats, a bit of Febreze to get rid of them.
Isn't it mad though? Like now, like when you think about it, like so, like the 3 of us here have kids, like they wouldn't have had anything like that. It's just because of social media and technology now. Like I wouldn't have done shit like that, but even like my childhood, the stuff you would, even just the innocence of like going home from school and just straight away going out and knocking for your mates. Like, you know, if you've seen like fucking lot of bikes in the garden, oh yeah, like that's what it was.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays it's just technology. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
It's
look,
unbeaten that them days were.
all you here know how much I'm a fan of technology. I love it, but I wouldn't change the childhood we had.
I believe
Like, there was times where we'd literally, like, as we got a bit older, as we got into our teens, we were down in the field playing football from, like, especially during the summer, from 9 o'clock in the morning, and we wouldn't come in till 11 o'clock, and literally just football that whole time. Do you know what I mean? Once we actually went down to the Coco, and we actually robbed a goal. They had spare goals, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah.
We weren't.
This is when the AstroTurf was built, was it?
the Astros
It would have been, yeah. But they had spare goals that they weren't fucking using, like, do you know what I mean? It's not like we dug up a goal, because I know people around the area used to do that, but we didn't. We actually genuinely took a little bit broken, a little bit bandy maybe, and we brought her up and we cemented it into the ground and all in the field. I don't know how we done it. We had mad part.
I actually done it twice.
Yeah, because it got
we
taken
done
off
it twice,
from the council.
and it was about 7 or 8 of us carrying it up Oldfield Avenue and putting it into the ground. And I tell you what,
All the lads actually helped then as well.
everyone did. Mad Pato, some cavity blocked it into the ground, and we cemented it in. And actually, it was that well. The council came to take it down, and we got weeks on weeks.
Yeah.
Of
But that was the
playing on
first one.
field.
The first one they took down handy enough, because
The first one went down.
we'd
It
literally
was just
put
sitting
it in the
ground.
grass.
Yeah. The second one we said, nah, these fellas are not getting this one.
Yeah.
And it was as safe as houses, and this thing didn't move. And the council came along to take it away, and they were getting weeks of playing. Now, every kid in the street was playing. You were out from 11 o'clock in the morning till 6 or 7 in the evening before you went up to Angelo's to get your 3-1 or whatever. But
you ate off the ground.
that was another. Yeah, I did, yeah.
He
6
spent
second
the
rule.
3-1 and just start
Yeah,
fucking eating off the ground.
by the way, kids these days, he says to my stepson to be the other day, he dropped a hot dog, and he says,
Oh, you were telling me. I was there, yeah.
5 second rule. What's that? What do you mean? What's the 5 second rule?
fuck's sake.
You get it up and you go, and there's nothing wrong with him. Anyway, this goal that we had, the council come to take it, and we're all out in the field, like, you know, like pickets,
Protesting with our
pickets
posters.
and everything. Yeah, it's like
Barry Bourne had no piss. Please don't take our gold.
yeah.
He couldn't
GOLD.
spell.
But they were telling us health and safety reasons, or you know, we have to. You can't have this goal. It's not safe. They couldn't get it out of the ground. They had to cut it out of the ground.
And get the JCB.
Yeah, couldn't
So
get it.
they
But with the
got-
JCB, they tried to lift it.
Yeah, they tried
What
to
the
lift
fuck
it
job
up.
did you do on it?
Oh, it was whopping.
Oh, it was cemented into the ground. It was the holes were dug about 6 feet under, cavity blocks in. The goal sat in the cavity blocks, and we just chucked a load of cement in.
So
on top of it.
basically, the cavity blocks, in other way, there's 2 squares either
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
So we just, like, I think it was 5 deep cavity blocks, and we put the goal like through that. So the goal was a lot lower than what it should have been.
Right, okay.
Now take note, the goals are automatically going to be higher, because when they put them in genuinely, they're a bit taller anyway. But it was a little bit smaller, which was perfect for us, because we were obviously smaller as kids.
Yeah.
And we just went off to B&Q, bar cement, and Mad Pato. He was, I think he was about 11 then, and he had the brain of a 40-year-old man. The cunt could literally build you anything you wanted. And we cemented it in, and we got fucking months out of it. Like Sparky said, the JCB came, tried to lift it. The whole fucking... were you saying something there, Martin? Sorry.
No.
I don't know what
I
I
heard something as well.
Yeah. The whole like the field was moving up and down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That's
it was
deadly,
literally it was unmovable. But Sparky, kind of moving on to the serious stuff now. So you started up living in 5, was it? 5 Oldfield Avenue.
No.
10.
Started in 10.
10. Sorry, 10.
Started in 10. Yeah.
Right. So you started in 10, and what made you move again? I can't remember, but you moved. Like, obviously, me and Ian were as best mates. Devastated. What?
I mean, the parents split up, so father
But
stayed in 10.
Fred had still owned the house, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but you
He
went-
stayed in 10 on his own for a little while. I
Yeah.
moved with my mother to Rolla.
Scumbag.
Yeah. I moved with her, and then he moved. He's either sold the house or rented the house out, and he moved in with his brother. So that took me out of Oldfield. Then he moved back and bought another house in Oldfield a couple of years later.
No. He bought a house in Weefield, I remember, first, because
Well-
you were back in Weefield first, weren't you?
Well, see, he was. They were obviously buying a lot of houses in the
Yeah.
area because that's what they were doing. They were property management. So he'd bought a number of properties in Oldfield, Weefield. He did live in one facing Weefield Park for a couple of months,
Yeah.
but not for anything
But
long term.
that's where you came back to that house, didn't you? Or did you just visit him around there?
No, I never lived there.
Oh, did you not?
No.
Right.
So I moved to Rolla when I was 8 communion year. I'm gonna say it was communion year. And then moved back in with my father in Oldfield when I was about 11 or 12. It was in and around the World Cup 2002. So
yeah, so and this is mad, lads, right? Because we literally completely lost contact with each other, didn't we? For about 2 years, like.
I'd say, like, I still would have been around,
Yeah,
but because my father wasn't living in that estate, probably, yeah.
Yeah, like we literally like
Because we didn't go the same school year.
Yeah,
We were different years.
and like
You have this thing though, don't you?
What?
I might be switching it a little bit, but
no, go on.
you had this thing where you were like, you yourself specifically were so like mentally and emotionally invested in football
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
He wasn't as
Yeah.
much.
So
And then all of a sudden he comes back.
yeah, so him and Ian used to always say, "Come on, we play football." No, I don't like football. Don't like football. And then after it's St. Mark's, obviously the lads in St. Mark's just played, but the Mars just fucked them out in their whole day.
I know that to be true.
And then Sparky comes home, moves back to Oldfield and knocks over to me with football. I'm like, I thought you don't like football. He was like, oh, I love football now. I'm like, fucking bastard. I'm not missing out on years of football. And he came back and he was a fucking baller. Do you know what I mean? So that was the start of the football, Sparky,
Yeah.
St. Mark's.
No, it was Roller.
Oh, Roller, sorry, Roller.
It was Keith Tomley. That was,
Yeah.
he
that's
would
right,
be the
yeah.
one, because when I moved from Oldfield, I never had any interest in football whatsoever. I was interested in all sorts of things,
Yeah.
skateboarding, whatever, tennis, bleeding.
Posh kid stuff.
It's just, I moved to Rowley. Keith Tomley was my next door neighbour. What did he do? He played football. So how do you integrate yourself
With
as
new
a kid
friends, yeah.
with new friends? You just do what they're doing. So you play football with him, and he was actually joining Liffey Valley Rangers with Froggy. Froggy was the manager.
Granger, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what do you do? What are you doing today? Oh, I'm going up training with Liffey Valley. Oh, can I come? Yeah, go ahead. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, as you say, your ma just throws you out. Just look after yourself there, play with the traffic, and off you go. So you go up to Liffey Valley and you just start playing football, and obviously if you enjoy it, you stick around, and so be it, So that's where I would have come back to Oldfield then, saying, play football now.
Started, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Where did the
chance.
goalkeeping come? Like, was that just like, did
I
you go
always
there want
loved
to be
it.
a goalkeeper?
No, I
or-
played outfield. Played outfield as a
you
kid.
still do that now, don't you? If you're playing Astro, you're
I
outfield.
hate being in goal now. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Can't stand it. But as a kid, I always wanted to play in goal, even like at 8. And I just happened to be half decent outfield. And Froggy, the Granger, the gaffer would always be like, oh, no, we need to play outfield. You have to play outfield. And I was like, I want to play in goal. And even in training, I'd always get in goal, And I'd be half decent in goal, half decent out. But just always loved being in goal. And I remember one of the seasons, I don't know, I think the first couple of years, 8s, 9s, 10s, whatever, we were winning everything. We were shit hot. We were probably playing in lower leagues, And then when we got to like the top league, we were shit. And we kept getting beaten. So I was like saying to Froggy, just put me in goal. We can't get any worse. I think,
Such a flex, isn't it? I guarantee you the results turned around and all that.
well, no word of a lie. No word of a lie. And Froggy can attest to this because it's 100% true. We actually played the team that was top of the league. So in our league, they beat us 8-0. I'm going to say we're under 11s. I can't remember what age group. It was probably under 11s. So they beat us 8-0 earlier on in the season, but everyone was beating us 8-0. And the game that I played in goal for the first time, we won 1-0.
Right.
And that was the start of it. That was the first time I played in goal, and played in goal then for kind of the rest of
You're
when
playing
I
days.
played football, yeah.
That's
so
mad.
Liffey Valley was our first club, and you stayed there for about 5 years, 6 years
Playing or coaching?
playing.
I played up till U14s.
Was it 14s?
Yeah.
Because
So
I remember you were out for a game and I had to play. Like, and I was, what's the age difference between me and you?
2 years, I think,
I
is
think
it?
we're on a year. What year you born?
93.
2 years, yeah.
2 years, yeah. I remember I had to play, and I remember just like the pressure of it. One, because everyone knew how fucking shit hot he was in goal, and two, I was 2 years under. Do you know what I mean? So like, one, I'm not gonna play to his levels, and two, there's a high chance I'm gonna get buried about 4 times in this game. I hated it. It was an awful game.
That was another reason, and I'm not taking credit here, but another reason why he got so good in goal was because of the goals we had in outfield. Because you think of it, if you have 2 shorts down, you don't know what's going in and what's not.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were playing down there, some days we'd knock for Clancy, Mousy, David, no one's coming out. Right, me and Sparky will just go down and he'll get in goal because he loved being in goal. I love fucking shooting. Who doesn't love shooting who plays outfield, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Sparky, we didn't see it as training, but that's what it was.
I think as well when we were on the field, particularly that summer in and around that time, we always played with the older lads.
Yeah, always.
So Barry Callahan, Dornan,
Who were
your brother
all
Robbie,
decent ballers
these are all
as well.
quality 3-4 years older than us.
Yeah.
You know, so you're kind of now in playing in goal against really good players and lads that are older than you and that. So it obviously pushes you, and you got a bit of a different test, haven't you? So
And you always got a hard time, like, if you played 3, which
always
benefited
still
us,
do
you know
to
what
this
I mean?
day. Still do. If I ever get in goal, lads are bleeding hammer you know.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck off, lads.
But at what stage, Sparky, when you were playing for Leaf Valley? Because I remember I went to see a good few cup finals like that. I can't remember if you were at a lower level. I'm nearly sure you were at a decent level. I remember going out with Fred a few times. All your games were starting to get recorded and all now at this stage. Fred was bringing out his foldable chairs and stuff to the matches. But at what stage did you start saying to yourself, gee, I could fucking make something of this here, like?
I think we were in the South Dublin League, which obviously
It's not a high standard.
it's not
in reality.
yeah. And the DDSL was shit hot at the time. Obviously, the National League is taking over now, but the DDSL was the creme de la creme. We were playing in the South Dublin League, so it's a much lower bar. But I was playing with the league representative team a year above my age. So I think at that stage, I can't remember the exact ages, but I'm going to say the Kennedy Cup, which is the creme de la creme for players playing for their league teams.
Well, what was that league team called?
It's just a league team. It's
Like the
Not the
SDFL.
SDFL.
the SDFL, yeah. So the South Dublin Football League. So I think the Kennedy Cup, which is the creme de la creme competition for league teams, was under 13.
And them matches, were they held out at the airport? Really, was it that place?
The AUL.
Yeah.
They would have been all over the place.
Yeah.
But I would have been playing for the under 13 South Dublin team when I was 12. So I suppose at that stage, then you start to think, I'm half decent here. There's, because you're playing with the league team, and then over time there's interest from clubs from England and stuff like that. So you start to realise, right, I'm fairly decent in goal here, or you think you are anyway.
And at what point, like, did offers start coming in? What was the age range? Like, even, let's just say, in Ireland.
Yeah, because a few clubs approached you, I remember, where you turned down a few big clubs playing for Liffey Valley. I remember that as well.
Or like schoolboy clubs here? Yeah, definitely. Like
there was clubs chasing at a very early age.
Yeah, so when I was under 12s playing league representative under 13s, at that stage then you would have started to have the top DDSL clubs would have been on, and I always said, no, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay here, want to play with my friends. That's all I want to do. And that kind of happened up until I left. And the only reason that I would have left Liffey Valley, 2 reasons. One, because Froggy made me. And 2,
was Froggy leaving as well though? I know there was something going on at the club at this stage. There was funding issues.
No. You'd have to ask Froggy the ins and outs. My take on it is that he said he was going to leave, so I'd leave. I don't know the exact, but he said, "Look,
I'm holding you back.
If you don't leave,
I remember all this.
I'm stepping away, and the team is gone." So there was a year before that.
How good is that though? By the way, like. He's thinking of your future in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Granger has a huge part to play in all
that's
this.
That's fucking epic, that is, though.
Yeah, look, I owe an absolute debt to Froggy for everything he's done. And even behind the scenes, like when I was younger, like he brought me everywhere. He picked me up and dropped me off. He treated you
like a son.
Yeah, picked me up and dropped me off, brought me to league ETP or representative training. Always made sure that you had money in your pocket. Always made sure if I needed new gloves, anything at all. He
was your Fred.
Exactly, yeah. Because
but
Fred had no interest in football.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he'd go to the
Granger,
matches.
I think Granger, that's why he took you under your wing more, because he knew that you were so passionate about it, and you didn't have that male figure that was passionate. Because let's face it, usually our dads are into football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he probably seen it as his fucking, obviously being your coach as well and seeing how good you could be.
Yeah, I think he wants to give you every possibility or every chance. But I think as well as all that, I think he enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed being involved and being there and going to watch everything that was happening, and seeing one of his players doing well and getting opportunities, either one to move on to bigger schoolboy clubs or to have trials across the water or to play at international level or whatever the case may be. So
offers did come. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Offers did come in though as well from like English clubs, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I had 2 things initially. I went to, because I was in the South Dublin League, they had 2 kind of affiliates. So they had an affiliation with Stoke City at the time through the league. So I went twice to Stoke on trial over there. And really, like, all of this, we could go into all this for the rest of the conversation, but all of it was completely unenjoyable to me, going anywhere outside of playing football with my friends. Anything at all outside of just playing with Valley.
Didn't I say that to you? Because one of the stories I heard, because remember growing up, like, I played at Liffey Valley as well. I was obviously 2 years younger. And the stories we'd hear is that, like, if you were getting offers or whatever, it was just you were homesick or something like that, or you wouldn't have enjoyed.
I never turned anything down.
Right,
Never turned anything down. I always done it, but didn't enjoy it. Hated it. Couldn't wait to come home, kind of thing.
Was
Which
it
none of us could believe either.
Yeah, like,
because it's
like
a
everyone's dream job.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, was it a case of, like, just how it was set up, the training, like the different level altogether? Like, were you capable?
Friends.
No, like it
could have been just purely friends, yeah. But like,
being a coach now, I can completely understand it. And I spoke earlier on about being outside your comfort zone and all that stuff, and that's kind of like part of my makeup. That I'm strong inside my comfort zone, and outside of that, then you kind of at that stage of my life, I kind of stayed away from it. I just stayed in my own little bubble. Whereas now, like doing something like this, I'd be more conscious of it and I would be more open to it. But at the time, I was just like, I don't enjoy it. I don't know these people. You kind of feel lesser because of where you've come from or what you've done, and you're always that kind of big fish in a small pond.
Did you feel like everyone there was probably on a different level to you or something?
No, I wouldn't say that. Like there was times where I'd gone away and done things and done really well, and thought, I've done really well here, but just couldn't wait for the final whistle, or couldn't wait to get back on a playing home, or whatever the case may be. And as a coach now, I can understand all that, because young kids, they're all different. One of the greatest pieces of advice that I've ever been told was, you have to know Johnny to coach Johnny. And it's something that I'm so aware of now, that every single player is different. I don't know, we go off script for a second. I don't know if you've seen Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Right. So in one of the Kung Fu Panda films, or I don't know if there's more than one, but they're trying to train.
It is, yeah. I'm nearly sure it is.
Like, so maybe in the first one, the sensei, or the sensei, yeah, him. He's trying to train the panda.
It's him.
That
bleeding bandana.
Kung Fu Panda.
Image of him, yeah.
It's something that I always use or reference. He's trying to train the panda to be to do kung fu.
Yeah.
But he can't do it. He can't get it. And in the end, he trains him, or he develops him by using food as the motivation.
Yeah.
So when you talk about that whole, you have to know Johnny to coach Johnny, every single person is different, every individual is different. So for me at that time, I'm going into this environment where every single kid just wants it. And then you have this one kid who, I don't want it. And maybe you have ability, and maybe if someone spends time talking to you and makes you feel a little bit more comfortable and is aware that you're completely out of your comfort zone, then that kind of helps. But at that stage, I didn't have that, and every time I went anywhere, I was never me. I was never 100% me. So I was just completely, every time I went anywhere, whether it was on trial, whether it was international stuff, it was just get me home, just get me back to me comfort zone.
Has there ever been anyone that you've been on trial with around where you see now, like playing professional football, where like, could have been me type of thing, or? I don't look at it like that. Like, I don't look. There's loads of players now. There's even players playing in the senior international team that I would have played football with. That you think, Jesus, we were on the same path. Yeah.
But I don't look at it in envy and say that should be me, because it shouldn't have been me.
You're happier where you are now, aren't you? Like,
yeah.
I
don't know what I would be like if I was in that environment. What I would have known, or what would have happened would have been, I would have spent a lot of time being unhappy and uncomfortable to get to that point. So I just wasn't made out for that. And there's loads of kids that are not made out for that, but they get help, and they get support, and they get awareness from people around them, and people are able to motivate them in different ways. But for me, I didn't have any of that. So my ultimate motivation is just get me home and get me back to what I know,
So going back, I know we skipped through a little bit there, but after you left Liffey Valley, was it Crumlin your next club then?
Yeah.
Right.
Crumlin were the top side in the country at that time. So
Yeah,
all the best players, the team had won All Ireland after All Ireland. So
And there was a few big names down there. Remember Richie Towell, Aaron Doran, what's his name?
Yeah, Aaron Doran.
Aaron Doran, Conor Clifford.
Yeah.
They were all down there. And I remember, like, that just goes to show the type, like, the level that Sparky was at one stage. Like, he was the most talked about footballer in Clondalkin. And there was other people that were at a similar level, but I think everyone knew that Sparky was better. Like, that's no disrespect to Ross Costady and Ian McLaughlin. I mean, I would have put Sparky over all them every day of the week. Ian McLaughlin went on to play League One. Was it League One? MK Dons and all he was playing for. Yeah. QPR, I think he was playing for as well. But you played for Crumlin then. I went to see it a lot of times with Crumlin, and I went to watch a few Whirling games as well that you played in. And I remember saying, he's going to do it. Like, I remember saying to myself, you know who I was talking to? I was talking to Barry Callahan one day. I don't know whether he'll remember this. It was in his garden, and we were talking about Sparky. I think it would have been after one of your big games or something, and we were saying about how good he was. And I said to Barry, I said, if Sparky doesn't make it in football, no one will make it at anything. Because it was literally morning, evening, sleeping, everything was football. His room was plastered with, Liverpool League videos and fucking WWE. And then he had posters Liverpool. And everything just turned to football. Like, literally everything turned to football. He was out playing it 24/7. When he wasn't playing it, he was coaching, whether it be goalkeeping coaching or Joycey or fucking cadets. You were helping cadets at a stage where I don't know if he was being bullied, but I remember you being a great help to him, and he lost loads of weight when he was playing ball and all. But it was just all football. And I remember saying to him, if he doesn't make football, he never will. But was it at Crumlin then that the offers started coming in from the English clubs, or was it even before that?
No, it was definitely before that.
Who was the other team? Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Who was the other team other than Stoke?
So I had
Leicester, was it?
Yeah, I had official invites to both Leicester and West Ham. Don't know if you remember why I didn't go to West Ham.
Oh, was that West Ham? I thought that was Stoke.
No.
Is this where he fucked you up?
Yeah. The night before.
I literally fucked him up the night before.
I'm set to go away on. Trial at West Ham. Yeah, buzzing. He was on a go-kart or something like that, and I was round the road, and my mother was staying in the house around the corner.
She was renting
a room.
Columns Mar.
Yeah, she was renting a room in a house around the corner. And I says, "Oh, here, drop me home on the go-kart."
It wasn't that. You were walking. I remember this vaguely because I felt fucking. I actually went home.
So you should. So you should.
Absolutely, Gavin.
So what happened was Sparky was walking down the road, and I said, "Jump on, I'll fly you down." And he was like, "No, it's only down the road." And he literally said no about 3 times.
Yeah. I remember not wanting to get on it and being nervous on it. Because it's like anything. I know you were kind of saying before we came on here, "Oh yeah, do you not trust me?" And I'm like, "No, you're going to stitch me up," because that's what you've done your whole life.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Stitch people up.
Yeah, I was always acting the bollocks. Like, I was never, like, I do always get mad at, I don't know whether you don't know this, but Tyler now, right? Tyler, he caught me lovely. I'm nearly sure I told you about this, Jay, right? He never does the normal thing to do. I always say to Tyler, you don't want to be normal. Don't be afraid to be different, you know? And he's always, let's say we're walking down the road. He's jumping on the walls. He's walking along the walls. He's doing just jumping in fucking puddles in his new runners and all. And I said to him one day walking off to Liff Valley, "Will you ever just be normal and walk on the fucking path?" And he says, "Dad, you told me never to be normal, to just be me." And I was like, "You little bastard, got me lovely." But that's how I was. I never wanted to be normal. I always just wanted to do shit different. If you told me to do something, I done the complete opposite. Don't press this big red button. Okay, press the big red button. Yeah. That's how I was. Mm-hmm. But Sparky did not want to get on the go-kart. And I was like, "Will you come on, you fucking idiot?" And I probably pressured him into getting on it. Do you know what I mean? But pedaling down, and he's like, "Slow down, you bastard." We're both kind of laughing, you know, but him more nervous laughing. And then I lift the handbrake.
It's funny that you say that. Someone says don't press the red button, and you press the red button, because I said don't pull a handbraker. You kept saying, "I'm going to pull a handbraker. I'm going to pull a handbraker," and I said, "Don't pull a handbraker." And what do you do? It's funny now, isn't it? Someone's career's gone up in smoke. sitting here on a Sunday night doing a bleeding podcast. It should be playing.
You should be on the P.I. Crouch podcast or something. Instead you sit in the village and game.
But what do you do when you're on a go-kart and someone's going to pull a handbraker? You put your foot down, do you know, because you're bracing yourself for a handbraker. So I put my foot down, and what happens? The foot stays. He pulls a handbraker.
I don't think I did pull a
You did,
handbraker,
because
did I?
the foot went underneath the wheel.
I thought, I could be wrong now, probably did pull a handbraker, but I thought that I said, I'm going to pull a handbraker, but it wasn't really. I was just trying to shit you up, and you put your foot down thinking I was going to pull a handbraker. That's why the wheel continued to go over your ankle. I could be wrong saying that I could have pulled the handbraker.
I can't remember. But
Yeah, but I
ended up
you
in Tala Hospital, broken ankle.
This is literally the night before he was supposed to go on
night
trial
before,
for
yeah.
West Ham.
Night before.
I thought
That's
so.
fucking hard. I'd never talk to him again. I don't know. You're even worse for being here.
But
It was
do you know
devastating.
what the thing is?
He just came on to name
And the thing was, lads, I was his biggest fan. I wanted him to do well.
Yeah, clearly.
Do you know what I
Right
mean?
up until crunch time, he was about to get
Yeah,
on the
I
plane.
wanted him to do well. Don't pull a handbraker.
But you're not doing better than me.
Until the night before, he'll drive a go-kart over you.
Yeah.
But
On
you think
purpose.
everyone will kind of think, you know, jeez, that's terrible, that's good. But in my head, I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to go.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the mindset that I had, and I had that mindset all the way up playing. You know, just everything was not enjoyable. It was not playing football with my mates, which was what you play football for, to play with your mates. And you said earlier on about, like if Sparky doesn't make it, no one's going to make it. Talent is only one small part of
Yeah, of course.
achieving anything. You've got to have a mindset. You've got to have drive.
But Sparky, you had the mindset in front of us all the time.
Yeah. But
You kept that under. You never once, at least to me, mentioned that.
no, I never mentioned that to anyone.
Yeah, but
Never
there
mentioned.
you
But,
go.
but
So
that's what I'm saying. Now as a coach, I'm very cognizant of that, and I would spend a lot of time one-to-one talking to players, particularly in my role with an international team. That when players come in for the first time, you spend time getting to know them. I thought, you got to know Johnny to coach Johnny. I didn't have that, so no one knew. No one asked the question, "How are you feeling?" No one asked the question. It's just conveyor belt of players going away. Who's good enough? Who's good enough? Who's good enough?
do you think that's down to how good you were? Like that people just assumed?
I don't know.
Because-
to be honest with you, if I look back at it now and be serious about it all, now for me as a coach, I wasn't exceptional.
You were.
I wasn't. It was
There was
good.
one thing. There was
Being
only
too fucking humble, if you ask me.
there was only one thing that you hadn't gotten. It was your height that was holding you back. And I think it was Leicester that said, if he takes a stretch, like, do you know what I mean? It was one of the big clubs. It could have been Stoke actually that said, just need that little bit of extra height, and you're laughing, and you just didn't get it. And I think that's the only thing you are missing. Like, you are well capable of, like, as we mentioned, Ian McLaughlin, who was a smashing keeper as well. But that cunt was half good because of his height as well. Do you know? Now, don't get me wrong, he had a lot of talent, but
he had a lot of talent.
the height was the
Stood in
advantage.
his favour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you were missing. There was nothing else. Nothing. Like, the saves that you were pulling off for the height you were, like, you were, like, what height is what was it?
Ben Foster.
No, fucking
Forster.
Benfica. No,
Benfica.
no, fucking hell. Used to play Barthez. Sorry, Barthez.
Yeah, but he was dirt.
How tall was he? Just out of curiosity.
He
Mark.
must have
idea.
been 5'10", 5'11". I'd say.
Well, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
5'10".
And what were we saying earlier? Dean Henderson, what's he, 5 or 6?
6'1" he is. You
6'1".
thought he was smaller. But
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I did.
saying. Height is a huge thing when it
Well,
comes
he
to
is small
goalkeeping.
when you look at the
And I'm
fucking...
convinced that that's all you were missing. Honest to God. Everyone was convinced that that's all that held you back.
But it
There
is mad that you were saying that you have to, like, know Johnny, the coach Johnny, or whatever you're saying was. But, like, growing up as a kid, like, that is all our dreams, essentially, when we all love football. Do you know what I mean? Is to go play pro. Like, obviously, one day it'd be great to go and play for Man United for myself or whatever. You never had that at all.
I did. Like any young kid.
But that's what I mean, like, because you're
I
getting
had it,
them
but then
opportunities.
when you
When it
get
came to
into
crunch
that,
time, he bottled it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or
And-
go-kart to the Garvey.
yeah.
More than bottled at me.
Yeah, but you've got like everyone as a young kid. Yeah, you want to be a footballer. That's the great thing. But there's an awful lot that goes into it. And when you get to the point where
Serious Neville.
now there's decisions being made and there's opportunities there and that. I was even the same younger, like 12, 13, going playing representative squads and all. It just wasn't enjoyable for whatever reason, whether it's nerves, whether it's outside of the comfort zone stuff, whatever it is. It was never something that was really enjoyable, and never something that I felt that I was fully me.
But this is where you kind of clusterfucked me, Sparks, because like you're saying now, like this is one of my first time hearing all the reasonings for it. But you're saying like you didn't like all that side of it, you didn't like the serious side of it. But that's like when you were manager Longford under 19s, like that's all the shit you took very serious. So it sounds a little bit contradictory of what you're saying, but I know it's a completely different role from footballer to coach. So the stuff you didn't like as a player, you kind of really instilled that into your players
absolutely.
as a coach.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which I find fucking mad. Like,
so as I said earlier on, I'm so cognizant of it now when I'm dealing with young players and new players into the group and spending a lot of time off the pitch talking to them and stuff like that, because I just think it definitely.
What was the wake up call for that?
From me doing that?
In terms of like with individual players and noticing you need to get to know each individual player as opposed to just coaching a team or a squad.
Well, definitely my experience as a player.
So you were aware of that going in?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
Like I started coaching when I was playing. So I started coaching when I was 14. So I was coaching for a long time.
You're my fucking goalkeeping coach anyway for years.
Probably,
I was going to say that to you, Sparky. Is that why it was so easy for you to go from playing to coaching? Like you just weren't enjoying it that much? Because to me it was always weird that you coached really young. Do you know what I mean? When you were a good footballer. So like at the same time, I would have blown my mind to stop playing to coach. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you were quite comfortable doing it.
Well, that was the whole. When I was leaving Liffey Valley as a 14-year-old going to Crumlin, that was the caveat. That the only reason I could happily go to Crumlin was because I kept saying I didn't want to leave Liffey Valley, and they said, "Oh well, look, Froggy's going to step away, but he's going to take an under 10 team, and you can help him coach them."
Oh, very good.
So now you can go and play with Crumlin and coach his team. So that's how I started coaching. So, but I would always be, and probably not at that stage. Like when I was a younger coach, I wasn't aware of it, or it wasn't something that I was conscious of. But definitely as I got a bit older,
you figured it out fairly young though, because you had the man management down to a T when we played our games. Like when I managed St. Mark's and you managed Liffey Valley, like
I think he used Liffey Valley as a stepping stone, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but I think he used that as like his this was his chance to learn almost. Because I remember you from being around Liffey Valley, you put like, without disrespecting around, but it's not exactly the biggest club in Clondalkin. Do you know what I mean? It isn't, and yet like you used that as a way to kind of like really test yourself. Do you know what I mean? And you built a squad like in there. Like was it Craig Fitzgerald's team you coached?
Yeah.
Would be wrong.
And they were unbelievable.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like week in, week out, you were battering teams, and I remember you were just growing and growing and growing. So it's like you literally used that to elevate.
Do you know
yourself.
what's funny though? He never bet me as a manager.
Jesus.
Never.
How do we play?
A 3, I think.
Results weren't important when they were kids. Performance.
But yeah, like I loved that. I ate that up, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And Sparky, because he was so well respected, like even though they were just friendlies and a year younger than us, I didn't give a bollocks. I said to John Carpenter, go out and mill them little bastards. But do you think that you had a big part to play in Liffey Valley as a club getting recognised?
Oh, absolutely. I think at the time when we were at Liffey Valley, I was doing lots of stuff, and there was lots of people doing lots of stuff, and the club grew from kind of having 7 or 8 teams to having 24 teams at one stage, and they had everything academy right through to youth, 2 senior teams, a senior women's team, and over 35s. So there was lots of stuff going on at that stage. I don't want to say that the team that we were coaching was kind of the
what got it there?
But they were though.
They were kind of like the pioneer or the main team or the most successful team or
Let's
the
just be fucking honest about it.
ranking
Do you
team,
know what I
whatever.
mean?
But there was lots of accolades being thrown at players and the team. So we had 2 players from that team went on to represent Ireland, like, you know, from playing with
Dylan McKeever, was it? Was
Dylan
he one of them?
McKeever and Alex O'Callaghan both represented our country. There was loads of them, you know, played in the South Dublin League. They got to the Kennedy Cup final in 2010. There was players who went on trials. Craig Fitzgerald went to Leeds. Vincent Ogby went to Barnsley. Like, so there was lots of stuff going on in that team, you know, and coming from.
But that's unheard of in that club, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So
absolutely,
like,
yeah.
But that's like, where did you get that from, Sparky? Like, I'm just quite like, would that have been from the likes of, like, you were always like, you became a big fan of football, and like you had the Liverpool fucking DVDs and videos and everything else. But where did like,
I wonder what DVDs they were. He didn't win that when he was fucking growing up.
They won the 2005 Champions League. Excuse you.
Oh, stop. But no, you had all this, and then you went out your way, and you made yourself so professional. Little stupid things like getting the official ref whistle, like getting the
stupid things.
getting the proper notebooks and having the little gadgets that made you look
Fake
better.
it till you make it, isn't it?
No, but that's exactly what he done. He just took it. He took it like he was a professional coach from day one.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
I
where did
remember
all
one
that
of the lads.
come from?
One of the lads in the club one time we were having a meeting in the club, and one of the lads in the club says, I was asking for certain things. He says, "You're not managing fucking Manchester United." And I kind of said, "Well, if we strive for Manchester United and we end up at Barnsley, we've done quite well, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? But if we strive for Barnsley and we end up at, wherever, it's not going to be very good." So I suppose it would have just come from me playing and playing,
Knowing the level.
knowing what the
right.
top
That's
coaches
fair enough,
have and what everyone has and what you get when you're a good player, and I just try and give the players that were in my environment then the best that we could give them, and try and get the best training, the best facility, the best gear, the best equipment, play the best teams, playing the best tournaments, all that stuff. You're just trying to really be as good as you can. I don't know why, other than because it was what I knew, and you just kind of want the players to experience whatever you've experienced, or get as close to being at the top level as you possibly can. And when I was coaching grassroots, I call it grassroots football, with Leaf Valley or whatever, you were always thinking that players can make a career for themselves here. Do you know? That was always my thought, was, can you help somebody make a career for themselves?
But that's why I think you were an instrumental part of Liffey Valley, because young fellas from around the area that were ballers came and saying, "Geez, these lads are very professional, like everything's done." Like, you used to go, like, what age would you have been, Spark? 16, 15, managing the team?
I suppose I started when I was 14, so 14, 15 was the first team.
And you used to spend your own money getting Cadbury Suns and
everything,
oranges.
everything.
Like, I'll never forget that. And you still done that then up till you were managing Longford, like.
Yeah.
You used to always stop off at Lidl. Like, that alone, like, you don't, I suppose you're too in it to kind of step back and look at it at the time, but, like, 3 hour drive, is it, to Longford?
Nah, an hour and a half.
In the Focus? 2 hours, maybe?
Oh, on a good day with a tailwind.
How does that come about, though? How do you go from coaching Liffey Valley, a team in the South Dublin League, to coaching Longford under 19s?
Tony Cousins, wasn't he the big part?
Tony's brother. So the Liffey Valley team was now under 17. Lots of good players.
You brought a few of them with you, didn't you?
Yeah. 2 of them had played international football. As I said, 2 of them had gone away on trials and stuff. So there was kind of a bit of interest in and around that group of players. So Tony Cousins' brother, Tony was first team manager at Longford. His brother Andrew was a scout, so he come to a couple of the games to see some of the boys. Brought Craig Fitzgerald to Leeds. Had interest in a couple of other players and stuff like that. And I suppose he kind of just told Tony, there's a couple of players here, you might get them into Longford. So Tony's come to a couple of games, and they asked us to play a friendly game against Longford's under 19s. So is that
What? They weren't 19s. Your lads were.
my boys
19s,
were our boys were 17s.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
17s. So we played against Longford's 19s and in a friendly, done really well. We won the game, and that was around Christmas time. Just after Christmas, Tony Cousins rang me out of the blue. Now, I'd spoken to him a couple of times before that about players and stuff like that. So he rang me and he said, "Can you meet up for a coffee?" And I, yeah, no problem at all. So ring
You
Derek.
wouldn't say no to a coffee anyway, would you?
Absolutely not, particularly a free one. So I ring Derek. Derek, Tony Cousins is on. Going to be interested in a couple of the boys,
Just before you go there, Derek is a friend of yours who got involved in coaching with you then.
Derek was my assistant,
Right-hand man,
all the way through.
Yeah.
Never got a bleeding penny for anything he'd done, and he was there right up till the very final day. Another one that probably I owe a debt of gratitude to, and it was fantastic all the way through. So he was like, anytime anything happened, he'd be the first person I'd ring. So ring him, Derek, Tony Cousins is on, think he wants to take a couple of players to Longford, So, oh, lovely, yeah, meeting him tomorrow, great. Down I go to Tony.
And I remember this, these were like Tony Cousins would have been a huge deal, wouldn't it? Like when you were meeting with him, you felt like,
shit myself.
Jesus.
I'm thinking about what am I going to wear here. Do you know what I mean? What do you wear to meet this fella? Do you know? He's a League of Ireland legend. He's played across in the Premier League. You know, big name, whatever. So go and meet him anyway, thinking he's going to say, look, I want
some of your players,
one or two players to come in and do a training session or something, and he's looking, you know, to bring in a new manager at the 19s. Would you be interested in it? I'm kind of, you know, me? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, fucking, I'm 21. Like, want me to manage the 19s? I've hardly done any coach education. You know, and he's just kind of, you know, he's telling you all the stuff that you want to hear, but all the good stuff, you know, all the good stuff, your level of professionalism, the style of play that your players play, you know, the kind of reputation that you have within the game, all that stuff. So, so he offers us the 19s to come down and work with the 19s. So buzzing, you know, ring Derek. You know, he wants us to go in. He said, I actually remember saying to Derek, you never forget who he wants to bring down. And Derek's naming all the players, you know, and I'm like, fucking no. And he's getting to the kind of lesser players, and he's like, there's no way, what's going on here? Oh, he says, he wants me and you. Derek, skip over, will you? I said, no, honest to God, he wants me and you to go down. And he says, fucking hell, Sparks, what are we going to do? I says, fucking right, we're going. But it's Longford, that's miles away, you know. Where even is that? I was like, where even is that? And so that was it. When we took that was probably January, February, something like that. So we started in May, June that year.
You said, sorry, go on.
How often, like, just to let people know how much work actually went into the whole Longford thing, like, you were getting paid for it, yeah?
We got travel expenses.
Is that it? Was that all that
That's
was?
all, yeah.
So out of them travel expenses, you were probably spending that on
spending
the
plus. I was spending the plus.
Yeah.
We were never making any money.
You weren't making money.
I was living off the Bank of Fred at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we started working in chippers and Chineses as well.
Yeah, doing takeaways. I remember.
I remember that actually.
Yeah. So we were kind of.
What's give him a shout out? What's his name? The main man.
Tony Cinelli.
I remember that, yeah.
What a man. The creator of the Kinder Bueno milkshake.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the Off the Wall, which the Nightlock tried to replicate and just can't. Have you tried one from the Nightlock?
No. I never ate an Off the Wall, to be honest with you.
What? Yeah, you did.
No, I was always into the Mad Box.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where this conversation's gone.
What the fuck is an off the wall mad box, lads?
Unbelievable.
Not just get a 4 and 1 or something, no?
This is a chipper, but unbelievable meals. He just created loads of different meals, but he was a good help as well. Did he sponsor? Did he throw money actually? Did he?
No,
did he do
at Longford?
Tony, did he help?
Nah, like he'd always been Tony.
Bring people down and all.
He had a van.
He
had a van.
Yeah, which like people again. It's a 2-hour journey from Dublin to Longford that you had to do what 3-4 times a week.
Depending on the week and where we were going, what we were doing, but you were probably down there 4 days a week. You know, you training 2 or 3 days. Then you'd have a game, and then if there was anything else on, if the 17s were playing or anything like that, you'd be going watching them as well. So it was nearly full on, you know. It was nearly full time. Plus, I was doing that after a couple of months. I was going to see a lot of the senior games for Tony, so going and doing opposition analysis for him and putting reports together for him and on the first team stuff. That's and everything. So. Mental. But all of this, I'm doing this like I'm 21, 22, having a Scooby what I'm doing, and you're just learning on the fly. Like
that's what I was going to ask you. So you said that you had like a style of play with your Liffey Valley team, but yet you go down to Longford and it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to kind of develop a new style of play? Do you try and implement that into them? Because you're obviously bringing players in as well. So did you go down there with no players in mind from Liffey Valley and just say, right, we'll see what we're working with, and then okay, now I'll probably need 4 or 5 down here.
The Tony, I think you were encouraged to bring players down at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So of the Liffey Valley team, you know, I was kind of saying I might bring 1 or 2, and he was like, no, you need to bring 5 or 6. Like, I was like, all right, fair enough, you know. So because I didn't know what the caliber of player was, I didn't see 19s games.
You're just beating them as well.
We just beating them, yeah. So and look, I knew the Longford team was in the lower half of the league all the time at 19s level. So, but
what did you do? Go on, continue. I'll touch on it now in a minute.
What did you do?
No, nothing. Just let him continue.
So completely naive. I brought the same style of play, which would have been, you know, building out from the back, trying to play through the towards. Didn't really have a Scooby what I was doing, to be honest. You know, would have had a few ideas, but certainly wasn't either qualified or experienced enough to work at that level at that time. So very naively went down thinking, oh yeah, we're going to build up from the back against all these
truly
teams.
think that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it now. Like it's completely different. I would have always thought that you've got to build out from the back to develop players, but the reality of it was that there were so many better teams and so many better players than us that we were just playing into their hands more often than not, you know. Plus I wasn't experienced, qualified, tactically understanding enough to play against the better side, so you were just giving
But at
goals
the time
away.
you thought you were. Would I be right in saying that?
Like Jay says, fake it till you make it kind of thing, you know. You just like you think you know a lot.
There was a lot of hype, wasn't there? I was involved as well. I went down and done kitman for him. Like, I just wanted to have a part of playing it because I was proud of him. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to watch it firsthand. And we went to. I obviously became a Longford fan then, and the vlogs were a big part of Longford. Then we started getting recognised going down there, and it was great to actually.
Were you
kids,
actually the one who'd filmed them?
Yeah.
Because I remember the video footage of them. That was all you.
Not all the games. No, I think I filmed 2 games or something.
No, he done his own video stuff. I had to give out to him one day because we scored a goal and he's got the bleeding camera on the bench. You know, what's going on here? Get that thing away.
Oh, stop! It was fucking the day what a day is though. But where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Fuck, where was I going? What's the last thing you were saying?
We were talking about styles of play and feeling like I was good enough or feeling like I knew what I was doing. Or
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
You've really lost the train of thought here, Jason.
Yeah, no, but 100%. Like there definitely was I was saying there was a lot of hype. Sorry, there was a lot of hype built up, and I think it was more that we were all excited. Obviously, my excitement was different than yours and theirs. I was just excited for them, whereas they were excited to prove themselves type things. You know what I mean? And I think that maybe overlooked the tactic side of it.
Well, I think we were going from, we spoke about all the stuff there a minute ago about, you know, trying to be as professional as possible and having all the gizmos and gadgets, and then you're going into the League of Ireland. You're going into playing in stadiums.
Yeah.
You know, gear's no longer an issue. Travel's no longer an issue. All this stuff is just there for you. So there was all that excitement around it and trying to be as professional as possible.
But yeah, still being excited, going to these venues.
Oh, but that was it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because we come from coaching in the park. You know, you were lucky if the council cut the grass once a month to now you're in stadiums. Do you know? And we were bringing 5 or 6 of the lads with us from the team, plus Derek, plus you came in, plus Keith Tomney came in, plus Baba came in after a while as well.
Keith came in?
Keith Tomney was down the 4th season. Yeah,
he was doing
strength and conditioning, fitness stuff. Yeah. So I all my mates around me. A lot of the players that I had coached from 10 right up to 19, you know, and then they're around me. I know you're going to play in stadiums and work in the National League. And I was 21, Derek was 22. It was like madness.
You were saying that you were, like, when you went in, they were in the bottom half of the table. So what was the progress? How did you do?
Not very well.
Yourself?
Not very well.
No?
That's where I was going.
No.
That's when you're like, I'm getting out here. Ruining my image.
It depends on what your lens is on it. You know, if your lens is...
What would yours be?
But here, let me just say before you beat yourself up, right? Unbelievable the amount of late goals we conceded and how unlucky that we got. Like, unbelievable. Like, you wouldn't believe it, Jay. You couldn't write it. Like, half the time, like, you wouldn't even snap. You just look and say, I knew it.
Game is 90 minutes. You pay attention till the end, Jay.
Yeah,
well, look, we were paying attention, but we knew the attention was going to go and do that fucking goal. That was the problem. It was just always, I don't know what it was. Like, we could never put a finger on it, but it was so fucking frustrating because no doubt about it, the talent was there. Like, some of the boys...
there was good players. There was no doubt there was good players. I remember Tom I don't believe for a second that we were unlucky, but I think at a time I felt we were. And I remember saying to Derek, we were probably 1-0 up at half time, you know, every second game. And we were like, we just need to get a second goal. Need to get a second goal. And then one day we were 2-0 up at half time. And I thought, oh Jesus, this is, do you know what I mean? And there was 8 minutes left and we're 2-0 up, we can't throw this away. Fucking 3-2 we got beat. Like, how does that happen, you know? But if I go back to Jay's point, it depends on the lens that you look at it. In terms of results, which is not the be all and end all on the 19s, we improved it from what it was, but it was still lower half of the league. You know, you were still finishing bottom 2, 3, 4 all the time. The last season that we were there, we had the most points per game ratio that we had, which was obviously an improvement, but it still wasn't, you know,
It's a foundation level though, isn't it? Like to move up. Like
if I look at it from my lens now, definitely you've got 2 players in this season's first team that played with us at under 19.
Who's that? Do you mind me asking?
Carl Chambers is the longest serving player at the club now. He came in with us at 19s, was playing grassroots football or played maybe senior football in Tala, and came in with us at 19s, got player of the year at 19s, and is now the longest serving player within the club. So, and then A. Dervin, who was with the club, who was playing with the with some of the local clubs, Melview in Longford, came through the underage system and played with us for a period of time under 19s. So he was another one that came through. So if you look at it from that lens, then it's you know, you've got 2 mainstays in the first team squad that came through that period of time that we were there. So I don't think there's been another period of time at the club that you've had 2 of
someone make the progression
in the starting 11. You know, you always had years where there was squad players,
someone on the bench and all jumping in and out. Yeah,
and there was loads of them. Loads of the lads had that, but to have 2 players that, you know, are still in the club now when they're playing in the Premier Division is that's the lens that I look at it through. So in that regard, yeah, there was success in it, you know.
Yeah, of course. How did the FAI come about then? So where did you start seeing like a potential career in that?
I'd always worked externally for the FAI. So when I was at Liffey Valley and then when I was at Longford, I'd work in the FAI's Emerging Talent Programme as an auxiliary coach. So a coach that they employ from the outside to work 1 night a week on the Emerging Talent Programme. So I was always kind of involved from the outside on the FAI. And then there was loads of grassroots programmes that the association would have run locally in this area here. Late night leagues, what people know as the Garda leagues. So be involved in that. I do some summer soccer schools, coach on them, all working for the FAI externally. So just being employed for a specific reason. So I would have been doing that maybe for 2-3 years in the lead up to maybe 2014, 2015. So me being 23, 24. So I'd have been involved in that. And then I'd applied for a development officer's job, which is basically a FAI staff member who works in the community, developing the game in the community, trying to grow the numbers, participation numbers, all that sort of stuff, engaging with local stakeholders and stuff. I think I'd applied for a job as development officer in Meath. I had done a really good interview, but just came up short on the job. And
what job was this?
Development officer in Meath.
Right.
So
yeah, no, sorry, I got sidetracked there.
So I'm coaching away at Longford. I'm still doing a little bit of external work with the association, and a job comes up in Clondalkin as development officer. And who do you go to? The fella who's doing all the auxiliary stuff there. Anyway, so it was 3 weeks, 3-week contract. Come in. It was November to Christmas. You know, it was basically 3 weeks, and then we'll just see how it goes. So. Great. Obviously, I'd done a strong interview previously, so in you go. And I stayed in that role for 5.5 years.
Did you replace someone, Sparky, or was it just a new role?
Yeah, replace somebody. Yeah, so there was actually a really strong quartet of people that were there before me. All of whom had kind of moved on to bigger and better things. So there were big shoes to fill coming in, which I was very aware of. But I'd done a lot of the programs. I'd worked on a lot of the programs already as an external staff member, so I was fairly well up to speed on the program. So I think they were just looking for someone to get in and hit the ground running and not have to spend a lot of time kind of changing the guard, you know.
You do a lot of travel with your job as well now, don't you?
Currently?
Well pre-pandemic.
Yeah, like I've moved jobs now from development officer to a regional high performance coach.
Right.
So
fancy. I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds sexy on a CV, doesn't it?
You pick up chicks with that on the regional high performance coach.
So that actually coming full circle. I'm actually I work in the Midlands region, so I cover Longford, Westmeath, Offaly, Laois, Kildare. So I'm back in Longford now, working working there. So I'd be on the road most days, you know, with that, and then obviously I work as assistant coach with the 16th national team. So you could be anywhere you'll be anywhere in the world or anywhere in the country at any given time with that. So
That's amazing, Sparky. Fair play to you.
Yeah, like, and is there anyone that's at your level, Sparky, at such a young age? Like, how old are you now? You're 29, 30,
me,
28?
30.
Oh, you're 30 now.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, not 32. Fucking hell. You're 30. Is there anyone that's at your level at 30 in the country?
At my level being what?
As in, like,
His job position. or
your
something
job
like-
position, or even your previous job position?
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that, because my brother-in-law is kind of carving
That's right.
the same path.
But no disrespect to Darren, is it?
Yeah.
No disrespect to Darren, but does part of that, because I know you got him in with Longford, which is where he kind of started. Would it be right in saying
Coaching?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, because he played for us at
He
Longford.
played for us, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a keeper, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
A very good keeper. And then he actually took over the 19s, was it?
He didn't ta-
Eventually.
He didn't take
Not
over.
after you, but
Well, once we left,
someone else was brought in.
someone else was brought in, but they'd no one with them. So they asked me would I recommend anybody.
And you
So-
recommended Darren.
Well, I
Now,
had already
is this
agreed.
because you were banging a sister by any chance?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
The quick look at the camera there.
Yeah, I know. It was like so.
Sorry, sweetheart.
You actually met. I want to obviously include Tommy in this. You actually met your future wife through. Was it through Longford? Is that how you know? Like, where did Darren come along? Darren only came along with Longford, was it?
Yeah,
He wasn't with Liffey Valley.
No. Darren just came down to Longford open trials. I didn't know him from Adam. Didn't know nothing about him.
Sister showed up to give some support or something like
No,
that.
you know what it was? I remember vaguely. Now, Sparky was always a little fucking snake when it came to the board. He'd keep himself to himself. He wouldn't open his mouth. He's very, like, the girls, especially Tammy, I love hearing this. He was very private all the time. So if Sparky throughout the years was ever texting a board, or even if
You
he was
wouldn't know
with,
about it.
you wouldn't know. He was never, whereas I'd be, boys, I rode her last night, I met her then, I done this then. Whereas Sparky was the complete opposite. He always had respect for women in a weird way that I never understood, right? But I remember we were all, like, not many of the players' sisters or girl family members would come to the games, and Tammy got a little bit of attention because she was a good looking girl, you know. And I remember us all saying, "Oh, she's all right." Little did we know Sparky was fucking texting her. Do you know what I mean? But is that how that all happened? Is that from?
That's not true.
Smooth operator.
That's not true. That is absolutely
You were,
not true.
I
I'll tell you why.
remember you were texting her
I wasn't.
one of the nights in the Ford Focus going home, and I was like, I can't believe you were texting her and you never told me.
No, I wasn't, because she didn't. We didn't make contact with each other until after Darren had left.
Who made contact?
You got that wrong, anyway.
Yeah. So she tell a lie. She texted me while Darren was playing for us.
Yeah, and you were texting,
No, I never responded.
right?
Never responded.
Oh, don't say that on the podcast, Lois Sparky.
I just hope I'm not stuck. Didn't mean to fucking unload that in here. But no, look, you met her through Longford is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like she was at the games, so
So what made you slide back into her DMs? Was it when she
can't
turned
remember.
around? or?
No, I can't remember. She texted me again, or I text her again after.
Because she was spoke about prior.
Maybe she was. I don't remember. To be honest, like,
His dad came to the games as well, didn't
yeah,
he?
his dad was at all the games.
Yes, he did. That's how I remember Tammy. She would have came with Darden's dad.
Yeah.
And I think we stopped off at Supermax or something one of the days. And she was
Wouldn't be a
probably
trip to the
there.
country
There
without
was
it.
probably nothing in it at this stage, but she was probably there. And me and Derek were talking about it on the way home. She said, "Geez, Darren's sister's all right," or whatever, you know. But how long you with her now?
6 years, 6.5 years, maybe 7 years.
7 years.
Putting that time in.
Jeez, I didn't think it was that long.
Yeah.
7 years, and you love her.
As
and
long
you're
as
getting
I,
married.
yeah, as long as I'm working for the FAI, that's the because I met her.
So she's saying the FAI title and said,
no.
lock this up.
I met Tammy maybe.
A high performance.
Do you know what's good though? As soon as you mentioned Sparky's wife to be, he just straight away associates it with work.
Oh, stop.
I met her maybe 3 months before I started working for the association. So I started working for the association in 2015. So 6 years.
The association makes it sound like a government hit program or something. The FAI lads.
Oh, stop. But where we were going, Jay, before I interrupted you about bringing Tammy in, you were going somewhere
It was
with the-
Darren. Yeah, it was
Oh,
Darren.
sorry, it was Darren.
Car-
Yeah,
carried the same
Darren.
path.
So, like, without being disrespectful to Darren, like, I don't know how I'm gonna say this without it sounding fucking shit, but you have a big part to play in where he is today, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but
I'm not taking any credit away from him. I'm sure he's a great coach.
Everybody has that somebody.
I know,
Yeah,
I know
for sure.
that. I know that,
Someone
and
opened the door for
I'm
them.
just giving you the recognition for that. That you're mentioning someone that's as young as you, let's say, starting, but you gave him, no, you helped him get that opportunity, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, look at.
Whereas the person that helped you would have been a lot older that helped you get that opportunity. Or you,
Yeah, potentially, but like you've got to have something about you. When you get an opportunity, or not, you
100%,
have to
I
have
totally
something about
agree.
you. So
Yeah.
your question was, is there anyone kind of,
Younger,
at
on
the
your
same?
range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would be on the same path. He would be on the same trajectory. He's coached.
what's his title now?
He's not. He's coaching at he's the head coach at Dundalk 17s.
Right.
So he's worked with our national teams as an analyst. He's head coached in the National League. He's elite youth A license holder at 27. I'm not sure even what age he is now. 27, 28.
Look,
so
you don't get there by accident.
No, absolutely
Maybe
not.
I didn't give him enough credit
No,
there. But
he's-
like it was coming from, and I wasn't putting him down just to get that out
he's
there.
on the same trajectory. But there will be
Mm.
lots of there'll be lots of people in the FAI, lots of good young coaches, really good young coaches. There's another lad that works in the high performance department with us who will be younger than me. Again, he's 28, 29. He's actually a good friend of mine, and he'd be on the same trajectory as me. Has worked in the National League, has worked with international squads, same qualification, and really, really good coach. So,
Mm.
How far do you through your badges, Sparky?
I wouldn't be on my own with that. I am an elite youth A license holder, so it sits alongside the UEFA Pro license. But it's essentially the pro license of the youth game.
And would you go ahead to do the pro license then? Is that the long-term ambition?
I think I will at one stage. Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, it's not that applicable to me because it's for people who want to work in the pro game or want to manage in the pro game.
Very expensive as well, isn't it?
It is expensive, but
The job would probably cover a good lump of it, would they?
the association do. They cover part
See the way he
of
keeps
all.
on bringing it back to the association.
I feel like we should have a button that just goes bum 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 every time you say association.
They do part cover staff's coach education, but it will be more that it's not applicable to the path that I'm on right now. That's not to say that I don't want to
Doing the
coach
future.
in the pro
Yeah.
game.
That's what I was going to
Um,
ask you, like, I remember around the time of the vlogs, and you were asking me, like, Jay, what do you want to achieve from it? And obviously, Sparky's 2 years younger than me, and when you're younger, 2 years is a bit of a gap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Sparky was always, I don't know where he got it from, I don't know whether he got it from Fred or whatever, but he came over to me with goals and said, Jay, this is how to do it, write down goals. And I remember going through your book and everything was ticked. So what's...
Everything is most definitely not ticked because of.
No, but it was at the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But
the
you set
goals
new
you had
goals.
set out at them times. That's what I'm saying. There's new goals now. So what's on the list now?
So I actually
Get
only,
married, being the fourth.
yeah, I was only thinking about this the other day because I hadn't set since the pandemic. I haven't really done anything. I haven't even sat in a coffee shop and thought about.
Only happens in a coffee shop.
Oh, absolutely, has
It's
to.
only dying to sit back down on the Costa.
It has to be
With
a
his
coffee
laptop
shop.
and a book.
So at the moment they will be all very very personal goals, professional goals. I've only started in a new role 6 months ago, so I'm very much invested in the current role that I'm in, and
Not thinking too far ahead.
yeah, I would just want to kind of
Knuckle down.
be as good as I can
yeah,
be in this role for the next couple of years. So professionally, like just the trajectory that I'm on, just to keep moving, and that it will be more personal. Obviously, getting married next year. We want to have our own kids, and
Yay! Are you
That's that high
practicing?
performance kicking
Are you
back in.
practicing for kids?
always,
Yes.
always, yeah. So just and then eventually we might look to move outside of where we're currently living and stuff like that. So they will
Was
be
that always the goal?
to move outside of here.
I always felt that when you got that house, that it was only ever a temporary
gap, like.
thing. Yeah.
No, No, absolutely not. I think it was. It's really just to do it now. Obviously, I've a stepson to be who's living with me, and when you're older, you don't really care about what's going on around you. Do you know? Like, so me personally, anyway, like
around the area, as in us.
Yeah, like everything that you see in the area, the good and the bad. It doesn't affect me now because I'm grown up, so you don't think about it. But
you block it out.
Yeah,
it's easy.
But then
for his age,
when you see what it could, the effects it could have on him or your own children, then you just start to think, okay, is this the place where I want to be for the rest of my life? And don't get me wrong, I love everything about Clondalkin. There's more good than there is bad, and there's so many good people and a lot of good stuff that goes on. But unfortunately, there is some negative stuff as well. And I've seen so many really good kids get involved in bad shit that they don't need to be involved in. They come from really good families, and it would be nothing to do with how they've been reared or anything. But it's just, I say earlier on, about
the surroundings.
You're a product of your environment, and if you can get involved in the wrong stuff, or you get yourself in trouble, it's hard to get out of it. So it would definitely be something that we'd be thinking of. That we'd also like we're living in a matchbox. That's the reality of it. So we'd like a bit more space, bigger garden, bigger area, and just somewhere a little bit more relaxing, a little bit more quiet. And
any ideas as to where you'd like to go? Right. Like, are you talking outside Dublin or?
Yeah, right beside my golf course in my valley would be.
Of course, of course.
Look, like Tammy's family are living in Trim, so she'd obviously she'd like to go down that way.
Only 40 minutes away. I was only just down there for the weekend.
Yeah. I'd love like Kilcock, Clane, Enfield. That kind of way.
See, you don't give a fuck. Like, you drive anywhere. Like, do you know? No, you're not like, I hate driving. Do you know what I mean?
Within reason, though. Like, that's not.
No, but Spark, like, he drove to Longford 3 days a week, not giving a bollocks. Like, 2 hours driving, 4 hours driving is a lot.
Yeah, but Garvey, like that, you say like he drives to Longford 4 hours a week, but for fun, you sit in a coffee shop and read a book. It's the same thing as driving to Longford. Like, what? You might as well be in the car and driving to work.
I disagree.
Listen to an audio book.
At this stage now, I'm kind of immune to travel and driving and everything. But the amount of work
Where's
that you get done.
Car? Tell them to get the finger out.
I don't know.
Association.
The amount of work that you can get done in a car, you can literally
like listening to the Did You Hear show.
Absolutely, you can write emails. You can write emails while you're driving because you just talk into the yoke, or I listen to a lot of podcasts. I do a lot of phone calls.
What's your favourite episode
of the Did You Hear show? Jay's first one.
Thanks very much.
That's the only one you listen to.
Probably. I'll take it though.
Sparky, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I definitely don't want to talk about your career without talking about the Paralympic side of stuff, because I'm assuming that was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiring and uplifting, and not to say the other stuff isn't, but just to see how people continue and get on with their life when they have issues. Like, it just makes you more grateful and more appreciative of what you have. Like,
it's actually funny because I'm doing a session with them in 3 weeks' time, I think, with the international Paralympic team. So I haven't been with them for maybe a couple of years, but I suppose at the time for me it was just that was an opportunity to work in international football. Didn't matter to me whether it was Paralympic or senior men, senior women's, whatever it was international football, and that was really it. It was an opportunity to get involved in the national team, and the whole idea was we didn't qualify for the Olympics in London. I think that was, or maybe it was Rio. Yeah, there was the Olympics in London. They didn't qualify the Olympics in London, so we got to qualify for the Paralympics in Rio. That's the goal. So I was like, yeah, let's go. And a good mate of mine who was working for the FAI at the time was the head coach. He was like, look, I need someone to come in and work with me. Would you be interested? So yeah, in you go. And loved it. Absolutely loved it. As I say, the first thing that people mentioned to me when I went in working with Paralympic athletes was, don't think about what they can't do, think about what they can do, and don't think of them as any different to.
That's
to
really
else.
good though, isn't it?
But I'm sure, like, fuck football, fuck everything else. I'm sure that taught you a lot of life lessons. You know what I mean? Like how to treat people and stuff. Because we had Eric Bourne on the podcast, and he was talking about some of the issues that he faced, and you know how people looked at him differently and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, I would have been pals with Ian Bourne and all. I would have been around Eric a lot, and I would have been comfortable around that. But people that don't see it, like the different types of issues that the players have playing the Paralympics, whether it be their arm, their leg, or whatever, like even little things like just looking the wrong way, and like I'm sure there was a lot of lessons to be learned for you as a human being, without
absolutely.
being a coach. Like,
100%, yeah. Like I wouldn't have known a lot of the contributing challenges that they would have had outside of their physical disability. You know, like there was an awful lot of like cognitive stuff, mental disability stuff, on top of the actual physical disability. So you were learning to deal with like a broader group of people that you had to be aware of. But the big thing for me was, as I said, like I'd be going in thinking in terms of planning training sessions stuff. Oh, can they do this? Can they do that? Can they? Like they do absolutely everything that
of course they can,
you know.
So would you just use normal sessions for them?
Absolutely, yeah. Now you might have to tailor one or two things, but it's the same as working with able-bodied people, you know. And in actual fact, it was very much I would say more rewarding, but it's definitely got a different feel to it, because you see not only the commitment that they have, because of the additional challenges that they have, but the challenges that they have in terms of the funding that they do or don't get, how they have to, you know, try and raise money to go to events and go to tournaments and represent their
and that
country
kind
and
of
stuff
touched
like
on
that.
what Eric was saying as well. Like there's not a lot happening for them. You know what I mean? Like they have to fight for everything, which
And in Sparky's
realistically
example,
is a
like
joke.
that's at a national level. Like that's the highest it's going to get. You know,
Yeah.
so you think there will be a bit of funding or a way of supporting them a little bit more. Or
Yeah, it was just like with them guys. When I was there at the time, it depended on, you know, kind of who owned them. You know, because there was Cerebral Palsy Sport Ireland, there was Paralympic Ireland, there was FAI,
Loads
there
of
was
different
all
organisations.
different people, and they kind of fall through the cracks and all that. So no one entity kind of owned them, and I don't know where they're at now. I know that they've kind of done their own thing, that they're their own kind of entity now. So it'll be interesting to see now when I go out and see them in a couple of weeks. But it was definitely a real opportunity for me at the time to work in international football. It was kind of me continuing to move up through the levels and have a different challenge. But definitely after 2 weeks, it wasn't working with Paralympic athletes. It was just working with athletes. That was it. It was working with footballers, and it was one of the best experiences that I've had. And it just so happened that the Longford thing got in the way of it. That was basically it. The Longford thing came around right at the wrong time, and I had to step away. And they did qualify for Rio, and they done really well. So
you would have been on that plane.
I would have been. I would have had.
would have been an unbelievable experience.
Would have had 3 or 4
Absolutely.
weeks down Copacabana.
Not to say Longford wasn't.
Yeah.
But
Spent 3 or 4
Sparky,
weeks in the car getting to it.
that's something that we all say about the podcast. Is our favourite part is obviously we all know you, but our favourite part is meeting new people and having interactions and making new friends and just hearing other people's story. Like, what is your most your biggest thing
Trying to
that
get that one
you've
out there.
achieved from being involved in football? Like, what's the proudest moment you've had, let's say?
Well, so I do this thing when I deliver coach education courses as part of my role, and we always do like a what do you call them things at the start? An icebreaker. We always do an icebreaker, and so one of the ones that I do is I always throw it out. What's your proudest moment in football, either as a player or as a coach? I ask all the room, and I always start with mine. Mine, for as long, has always been the fact that one of our players at Liffey Valley represented our country.
Not that you represented your country.
No, that one of our players that should never have represented, should never have played at international level based on.
So we were shy, but he done well.
No. This boy was exceptional. Dylan McKeever, he was exceptional.
Yeah, he was shit hot at the time.
Oh,
I
Sure,
remember.
Glenn Whelan's from Greenfort, isn't he?
He's an Arsenal fan, though, isn't he?
Glenn Whelan?
No, Dylan McKeever.
he is, yeah,
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
he is.
I don't mind.
But Glenn played in the top league.
Oh, I get you, sorry, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Dylan didn't.
I always found him getting a hard time was a bit unfair, Glenn Whelan.
Oh, what a player!
Yeah, I thought he was rock solid for us in the
Oh,
middle.
what a
But
player!
is that why
Yeah.
you put it down to him? Like, he should never have played for.
Yeah.
It's purely because of the league that he represented.
because of the level that he was playing at.
Yeah.
You know, he's playing in a public park. We don't have changing rooms. You know, you play your matches when the council say you play your matches. You know,
That's a good point, Sparky. Actually, like what like from around the levels around here, like where clubs kind of tend to be at, like what is the difference between that and then making it to a really high level? Like just for people that haven't played football at a decent level, like what would you say the difference between kind of a local team and then a top team?
well,
is?
if you move up levels in football, the difference is the intensity to it.
Yeah.
So everything that comes with that. So your ability to make decisions quicker, make better decisions more often, your ability to execute your actions quicker, and that whole process of communicating with people, it all just goes up tenfold. So it's like anything. When we play 5-a-side or 7-a-side on a Monday night, we might look like good players because we play against players that play the game slowly.
Yep.
But if we go and play with better players, the speed of the game goes up. So you can't maintain your actions. So that's the biggest difference, is the intensity of the game and what it forces players to do. So players don't make decisions quick enough. They can't execute the decisions quick enough. They can't communicate with people around them quick enough. That's really the biggest, for me, the biggest difference in the levels. Obviously, everything else changes as well. The environment, the players around you, the
Pressure and tension goes up.
The emphasis on your tactical role, all that stuff. But just the level, the speed of the game.
Going back to Dylan, did you ever have a chat with him about, playing at international level, considering, like, was he taking the same journey as you in the sense of probably not wanting to go pro or anything?
Yeah,
did you ever have
absolutely.
any discussions?
Absolutely, yeah. We'd loads. He was the exact same as me. He was the exact same as me.
Wanted to be with his mates?
Yeah. And there was always
Wow.
something in his way. There was always something that he didn't want to do, and you'd nearly have to fight with him.
You had the ability to do it, let's be
Ah.
I
honest.
remember
So much
I remember
ability.
even down in Longford, like there was a lot of run-ins with Dylan, like
Yeah.
not necessarily sulking, but knowing that he was much better.
He had the talent, like.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but in the end, then it becomes a case where you're forcing him to do something that he doesn't want to do, and
Yeah.
you don't want to do that either. And you got to try and see it from his point of view, because I know it from my point of view. But it's just very difficult, If it, you have to remember that kids are not mini adults, so they don't think like we do now.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're talking to a kid, they're not hearing the same message. They're not seeing it through the same lens.
Exactly.
So it's different. So you got to try and
You'd
be
love to
aware of that.
understand that as a fucking kid, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like how powerful that would be.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
why I think
that.
like when I done some parenting courses, lads, like the little details like come down to the child's level.
Dress like them in the Stranger Things t-shirt.
No, but going down to that level and trying to fucking word it in a better way that they'll understand. It's them little details that really do help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you were elaborating on that, Sparky. So you always give an icebreaker saying that your proudest moment in football.
Yeah, and that was like if when I answer the question, what's my proudest? I always say that, because at that time, I was like, I'm only a young coach. I don't know what age I am, maybe 18, 19. I'd say 18. And a player who came to you when he was 9, and we used to always tell the story. He had all the puppy fat. He didn't look like a footballer. He didn't even want to be there, kind of thing. And then you see him go out and he pulls on the green short, and you're like, I've had a part to play in this boy's opportunity today.
Yeah.
And nothing. Lots of stuff has come close, but nothing compares to
To that.
in terms of you feeling like there's an achievement there, and I get loads of that now, because you're impacting on lots of players now in my current role. So you're impacting on so many players, but
They're players who've already got to a level though, whereas you're building someone.
and not to the same extent,
Mhm.
So you might play a part once a week with these players now, or you might play a part once every couple of months with international players or whatever. But with Dylan, you were the voice, you were the coach, and it was kind of like vindication. Is that the word? Vindication?
Yeah, you felt vindicated that you had.
Yeah, it's vindicated like that.
I wasn't sure, I'm not going to lie.
I don't think I've ever even heard that word before.
I've heard the word, I was like,
Like
don't know.
justified all the
Yeah.
work you put in had gone.
what you're doing is right,
Yeah,
because you're seeing a player. Like I had times where, as a young coach, you make loads of mistakes. You don't have a clue what you're doing. You don't have a clue what you're doing. You're just doing things that you've seen somewhere else. And I remember giving like diet and nutrition sheets out to players.
I got them at Pats when I was 16 as well.
Yeah, so same thing. So
You were doing that at Liffey Valley.
yeah, and I've parents come back to me saying, "What the fuck's this about?"
I remember you actually got lads to piss in cups and all.
That was at Longford.
Yeah.
That was not at Liff Valley, but at Liff Valley I gave.
You drug tested them?
No, I think it was just to see that the water intake more so, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Like that.
at Longford.
I thought he was drug testing them as well.
You get charged for that, Sparky.
Yeah, Longford.
Right, lads, get them out into the cup.
Sparky was getting drug tested. He needed piss, so we just asked all the lads, right, there's a month's supply.
You done that to a football team in Clondalk and the cups would melt.
Oh, this is
Telling
really
you,
lovely.
lads.
Oh, that's the sinker right there. But look, I know this is going for people listening. I know this is going on a bit longer than expected. A few more questions to go through. You all right, Sparky? You in a hurry? Do you need to shoot out? Right, we're all good.
Go ahead.
Man, I'm just going to continue because I don't want to waste what we have. You know what I mean?
There's some
Yeah,
questions thrown into the comments
there's
there
some
as well.
Connor
so
Miley
people
had one
watching.
about an hour ago. I just didn't have the right time to get
Yeah.
it. Sorry, Connor.
Connor, if you're still watching, on the
buddy.
subject of motivating and managing players, how do you motivate yourself on days that you're mentally not there or physically drained?
I think you gotta see the bigger picture. If you zone in or you zoom in, you see very little. And when you zoom out, you can always see the bigger picture. So if there's days where I don't feel like, whatever, and I'm not at it, or I couldn't be arsed doing this or whatever, you just see the bigger picture. What are you there for? You're like, for me, the opportunity to impact what we see on the TV with the senior team or whatever the case may be, for me is always the motivating factor. So and then I always say to myself, there's a million other things that I could be doing that are worse. So just try and if you're talking about motivating myself, always set goals. Not only set goals, but set like a roadmap to those goals. I'm always trying to, we spoke about earlier about just putting stuff down and trying to give myself a roadmap to get there. And then, using the wider lens. I don't know whether it's periscope or what's the two scopes? What goes in and what goes out?
Horoscope.
Horoscope and periscope, whatever.
Is that right? You just guessed
I don't know.
A horoscope is like today a Gemini
that's
needs
what
to
I
be
was
scared of the
saying.
sun.
Yeah.
That's
So,
exactly what I was thinking.
whatever. Don't use the zoom in.
Periscope.
Telescope.
Telescope.
I don't-
Periscope.
Periscope, isn't it like the submarine thing?
I don't know. One of them zooms
I
in,
get what you're trying
and
to
one
say.
of them zooms out.
Yeah.
So try and not zoom in. and zoom
Camera
out.
lens. That's what you're trying to say.
Fucking horoscope.
Right, I suppose while we're asking questions that people are at the shooting in, we got a few questions on Instagram. You don't have to answer them if you don't want the sparks.
What do I say? Pass.
No, we'll just judge you really hard for a few seconds.
Someone
Yeah.
said you also played really well against Azerbaijan.
Nathan O'Shea, if that name rings a bell. You
we
must
have,
know hundreds
We
of
have
people in
Finn
the world.
Harps. Sparky loves a coffee.
Finn Harpster in the comment further up as well, saying coffee in hand.
Yeah.
And then Sparky
Just
had
all
a picture,
coffee
a
comments.
picture of a koala bear. Is there a running joke there, Sparky?
Yeah, that's our kit man with the 16s.
Is it?
Yeah. Shout out.
Koala bears, yeah.
Our first Instagram question, Sparky, is: are there any coaches in the FAI you don't rate?
Jesus.
I know. I just have to ask them. You can say pass
Look,
if you want.
there's obviously different levels of coaches and people that work within the organisation. But what I will say is,
The association, you mean?
yeah. What I will say is, and I say this to everybody, we have some of the best coaches in the world in this country.
So why is it not translating, Sparky?
Good question,
Fucking
man.
love it.
Because, like, let's call it
Sorry.
spade a spade. We've been dog shit for a while, do you know what I mean?
Well, look,
This is getting saucy now.
Oh, but it is, though. Like, we're all struggle watching the Ireland matches. Like, it's a running joke. It's not enjoyable anymore. It's boring.
It's not
it
like what it
frustrates me
was.
to charge you 60 quid to go and see it because the standard is League One. Do you know what I mean?
Like when we were growing up, Sparky, the days even in your gaff with all the banners and fucking
Robbie
everything.
Keane
like,
moments.
you don't
We
have
don't
them.
get them now.
yeah, well, you have to remember as well. Football has changed over the last 15
A lot more technical.
years. No, but the landscape of it has changed. So if you look back to 2002, whatever, our World Cup team was probably all Premier League players.
It's my favourite team.
You know, and
Literally
Damien
my
Duff,
favourite
Robbie
team.
Keane, everyone was deadly.
Staunton,
Against
Kilban.
Germany, Kane at the back post.
yeah. So we've had our best players in this country all went to the best academies in England, but now,
They're going local, forcing that.
not that they're going local, but our best players don't have the same opportunities because the academies are bringing in players from all over the world now. So the opportunities for our players are a lot more
I
limited.
said this on a podcast not too long ago, but is the problem then for me to further the game in Ireland needs to be serious investment in the electricity league at this stage, because if lads don't have a route straight into a professional football setting from here, then you're asking them to double job, go to work 9 to 5, get out and train 4 days a week as well. Do you know what I mean? It's just not there for them.
Yeah, like that. But as I say, the landscape is completely changing, and for us in the organisation or in the association, we're only one part of player development. Obviously, the association plays a big role in that, but there's a lot of emphasis now going on the national leagues and the academies and everything else that goes with that. And there's lots of good work happening. But unfortunately, whilst we do good work now, the rest of the world is doing good work. You know, so we kind of find it difficult to
constantly
keep up.
playing catch
Like
up.
we're catching up to them, but we need to overtake them in order to see progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no doubt that where we're going or what we're trying to achieve is will bear fruits further down the line. But like in any team or in any organisation, there's a period in between all that, you know, and we see now with some of the players in the senior team now who've come through over the last number of years. So these things sometimes just take time.
And without, like, say, the FAI's opinion on it, your own particular opinion, what do you think is the fastest route to get us back to a real competitive national team? Is it investment in grassroots, investment in the National League, investment in Sunday leagues? What do you think?
All the above.
Yeah.
All the above. Investment is crucial, isn't it? Like in anything.
And do we fall down there? Are we a little bit behind on that front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's investment from everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not just from the FAI
Yeah, that's what I
investing.
mean, like
There needs to be government investment. There needs to be investment within the National League. So it's not just as easy as we need to throw money at it. You know, there needs to be.
Do you feel the FAI kind of get the brunt of it there unfairly then? Because there is the help needed from other departments that don't get caught. Like if I didn't have a bad result, it's the FAI, but it could be directed elsewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think we see a lot of the negative sides of the association, but I promise you, there's far more positives that we don't see. So
Nobody cares about the good though.
Every
Let's be
young up and
honest.
down the country that puts their boots on and goes out and plays the weekend owes them something. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. So we gotta look at it from the point of view of well, what do we want to achieve, and how do we achieve that, and it costs money.
So what do you think of the opinion now on the manager of the first team now? Like he's been basically fucking hung out to dry at times.
It's very easy to see him
Because
trying to implement a different style though. So I think that takes time, and it's just the way things are at the minute.
Yeah,
if
but
it's not
like,
immediate,
like,
it's not good.
and this isn't
Do you
me
think
like
he's the right man for the job?
I don't think there's a right. I don't think you give Jose
it doesn't
Mourinho that
matter.
team.
Exactly.
It's not going to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So
like how many
changing
games
the
has it
manager
been
all the time is not going to do it.
How many games has it been like without a win? Like I don't think he's won a game yet, right? But like
He's won one, hasn't he?
he might have. I don't know. I don't think yet. No, but this isn't a dig.
No, it's not a
But
dig
like-
at all.
The slap.
It's like you said it. Like no matter whoever you put in there,
Yeah.
the job's gonna be the same.
But
you
that's
know
what I'm
I mean?
saying. Like if lads aren't making it to England, then we need to invest in our national league. So if you don't have to go to them to get players from Coventry or whatever, League Ones, whatever, you can get them from St. Pat's, get them from Rovers, bring them lads through.
But my point
that
is,
league
like,
better.
is he just a scapegoat now? Is that all he's gonna be until we
you have to
probably get
understand.
to a better?
The news cycle is 24 hours now. Like if Ireland lose, you just want to blame someone for a day and then blame someone else the next day.
Yeah,
That's all. It's always going to be like that for everyone.
What's your take on it?
Well, it all depends again on the lens that you look at it. You said we haven't won a game in a while, but they've only lost 1 and 6. So
We're draw specialists. I seen a thing the other day. If you backed Ireland to draw 1-1 in every
Look
game,
at the
for
Portugal
last few
game,
weeks.
though, Sparks. Like that's.
It depends what way you look at it. The reality of it is that change takes time and it takes patience,
Yeah.
and you have to back people.
So you're Ollie in, are you?
I would be Ollie out, but I would certainly be of the opinion that in this, like, what do? We just keep changing?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, like,
It's not the manager's fault. The talent pool's not there at the minute at the top level. Like,
well, I think it's there, but it's young.
But do you think the
So it
selection
needs
could
time.
be better though?
who are we putting in? Who are you taking out? Who are you putting in?
No,
then?
it's just a genuine question. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter who you put there. I don't think there is.
you don't think
A
there's
team
better
that's
than
competitive.
what's currently there? Like,
No, I'd imagine the FAI have know more about these players than either of us. So I'd imagine
Like-
there's a lot of research goes into the lads that get to put on that jersey.
But also when you look at the level of players that we're bringing in,
so
or like,
stats driven now as well.
are
don't
we
forget.
taking players in who can't get into the English side, but they haven't like an Irish grandmother? So fuck it, you'll get a game here type of thing.
In terms
Or,
of quality, if they're better
because
players, then
I remember
yeah,
like
I'm all for that as well.
it doesn't bother me. If they're better players, then they're better players.
yeah, well,
It's
sure,
a results
like,
game.
Like I said, even that 2002 World Cup team, like that's my favourite Irish team. There's a few of that as well. Fucking.
So by that logic, like if
You
you
know?
get Grealish and Rice that time, and we
No,
win
I
all
know.
them games,
No,
or
I
lose
know.
them games, there's no questions asked. You know what I mean, it's,
I know, like that's not me like saying, oh,
Mm.
we shouldn't settle for that.
Yeah.
I'm asking because I remember seeing a point before we should kind of like scout even further than England for like players with Irish heritage. You know what I mean, to bring in like the likes of America and stuff like that, or Australia, where you would find people with Irish heritage. I guess that's just probably where we're at the minute. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like
We got another question, but we kind of touched on it from Coach Allen. What sparked your interest in coaching? But we touched on that already.
that was a good pun.
wordplay.
If you could change anything in the Irish game, what would it be?
Perception. The perception that we have of what we are, what we can be. I think we've seen a change in the style of play that we have at the very top. But I just think sometimes we don't believe that we can be really good, that we can produce good players. I'm telling you now, the issues that we have in this country all stem down, for me anyway, stem down to that we don't have enough quality. We don't produce enough quality players. We can produce as good a player as the top countries. We have as good coaches as the top countries, but we just don't have enough.
Is there something, Sparky, like, obviously we touched on it earlier, but when I went watching yourself for Crumlin, and I remember one Ireland game when all the lads were involved, like Aaron Doran, who was a fucking baller. Conor Clifford was one of the best footballers I ever seen. Literally. He like, obviously we went to Shells games religiously as kids, and we were big fans of watching football week in, week out. But Conor Clifford, for me, like, I was convinced. I even followed him when he moved to Chelsea, obviously because I watched him a few times with you. There was a bit of a, and obviously that he was mad about my ex at the time. I think he was with my ex at the time. We had a little bit against him, but at the time, it's all good now, Conor, don't worry. But he was a baller. He actually scored. I was only saying to Jay before he came in, he scored one of the best goals I've ever seen. I think it was in the FA Cup for Chelsea youths.
You used to always do it.
He was unbelievable. He always scored crackers, right? But I remember watching with you for one of the Ireland games and saying to myself, fucking hell, that's some player. He's going to be like the next big thing. But not like, what the fuck, like? And I watched him for Chelsea. Like, I was subscribed to, obviously I was ahead of the game with people knowing you could watch YouTube Chelsea channels and stuff like that. And I watched Conor play, like, a lot of the time.
Frank Lampard
And
called
he
him
was
out on that.
he was always quality.
What? Frank Lampard called him out in a Chelsea TV interview. They were asking him about, is there any players coming through the academy that you'd like to watch? And he was like, yeah. He said someone else, and then he said Conor Clifford. He says, I think he might have even said he might be the next Chelsea captain. Now I could have made that up, but he called him out. He said he was deadly, like
That's
Frank
where
Lampard.
I genuinely thought he was
It's a
going
big
to
stamp
get.
of approval. That
I thought he was going to get to that level. Like, I genuinely believe there's something about being Irish holds you back.
Nah.
No, I don't think so.
Robbie Keane, look at Robbie
I don't
Keane's
think so,
record
no.
against any English strikers. Rooney,
No, but I think it's
Lineker.
like
Keane's
every
a
single
star.
game. Like, obviously I haven't watched every single game, but every single game we have watched Conor play in, he was the standout player. Like, what is it that, like, where did he went to Portsmouth then? Did he? Do you know?
Dropped down the leagues and
I
came
don't
back
know,
to
he
Ireland then, I think.
dropped
Yeah, I think he's
but I
playing
don't- I
for
don't
Pats
think-
now or something, is he?
He's playing in the National League. I don't think you can generalise it based on
On one
Conor's
person.
situation. For every
But there was a few. There
Didn't
was
Aaron
the
Doran
Aaron
get to
Dorans
Blackburn?
who he played for Blackburn. He actually played his first game against Liverpool, I think.
that's right. Yeah.
I remember watching, I think we were in Mouse's Cave or something. Well, it could have been the Coco. But I remember him coming on and all was being the light. And then he again had a very good game. But then he just fizzled out. And it's like
But
maybe I'm just saying it because I followed your level and all the players that were at your level.
Yeah. But for every Irish player that you're naming there, there's hundreds of English players in just the same situation. So it's not. You can't generalise it as.
But
as
that brings
an
it back
Irish
to the question: then is it a coaching thing? Because if is the 100 English players at a higher footing from the off? Are they being coached better? Are they technically better? Are they fitter? Like, and I read the thing about the Dutch team used to like take away any sort of weights or something and just do ball for a few years, or like everyone coaches differently. So are we further behind them?
Just before I forget, who was the other player? There was another player who done well, and I think he was playing for Salford last season.
Adam Rooney?
No, we played for
Palmerstown.
Dundalk and then went back over.
Richie Tell.
He
playing with Sean McGrovers now.
he was another baller at the time that I thought was fucking unbelievable. You know, so many players like.
Seen Adam Rooney score twice against Celtic in Celtic Park.
Sorry, Martin, I didn't mean to cut across that question.
No, you're grand.
No, but I think if we try and bring it all the whole thing together, the young Irish players now it's a different route for them now. So we're talking about the 2002 World Cup team, the best English academies, and they played in the Premier League. That's not such an option now, particularly with Brexit. They can't go till they're 18 anyway. So the landscape has changed. But the problem,
really, Brexit affected that?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
You need a work permit or something?
An Irish-born boy can't go to an English academy until they're 18 now. So it's completely different. So
But that's
that's a huge
forced.
impact
That's
then.
basically forced team level as well, though. That
Yeah.
is, do you know what I mean? So,
So
it's a
yeah,
lot harder.
but that's been coming down the tracks for a while, because you've got the likes of Seamus Coleman and that who stay here, play in the National League, and then move across things. That's been happening. But what you've now got is a situation where all of our top young players are going to be developed at home in the National League. So now we've got to bring up the level within the National League to be of a similar standard.
And
these players can
it's
develop
obviously
in.
different now because the coaches are genuinely going to be that bit older, so they have the opportunities to go abroad by the time they're at the level that the Irish football needs. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So if you're an 18-year-old football, or let's say 17-year-old footballer, and you're a fucking baller, you can't go anywhere. But by the time you're a good coach, if you're 30-year-old and you're a good coach, the opportunity's there for you already to go to England.
As a good coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Like, so it's easier, this is what I'm saying, it's so easy for the coaches to go and not the players. So there's an imbalance there. How are you going to keep the best coaches in the country to help improve the younger players when they like, if they're good coaches, they're going to go to the UK?
Yeah. I don't think we've got a major issue with our best coaches going to the UK. But I think what you're going to have over the next 10, 15 years is an industry being built in Ireland.
That'd be amazing.
A football industry. Because we don't have that at the moment. We have clubs, part-time outfits, National League clubs doing the best that they can on really low budgets, trying to provide all of the underage National League teams. So I think over the next couple of years, what you'll see is that landscape kind of change. But where we're at the moment is we're kind of it's kind of at that pivotal moment of where change just is going to take some time, you know. So if we can get that industry over the next 10, 15 years, like 10, 15 years in football is nothing. It's a lot in our life.
One generation of player. That's it. One
nothing in
generation.
football.
What is the mood like within the FAI? Like, are they, like, would it be optimistic of where they're trying to get to, or is it just like, we're figuring it out now type of thing? We're trying to regroup again, like.
Yeah. But I think, like I said already, you've got for me some of the best coaches in the world working within the Irish game, working for the association. Some of our national team managers are as good as I've seen, and they go and they do stuff in UEFA and they put stuff on in all FAs across the world, and you know, there's the standard that we have is absolutely second to none, in my opinion.
And Sparky, just for a second, sorry, you see the way you're involved with a national team at the 16s?
Yeah.
Do you receive direction then from, say, Stephen Kenny, like at the top level, he wants all the levels below him playing the similar style as him, so he's saying we're playing out from the back, you're playing out from the back now, we're playing 4-2-3-1, so are yours? Yeah,
well, it would come more so from within the high performance department, that there would be principles of play that all the underage teams would adhere to. But it's not just the underage teams, it's everything beneath that. So the National Academy, the Emerging Talent Programme, all would train under the same themes. So it's a blueprint that we would work off. There's flexibility within that course, but it would be consistent with a lot of the same messages right from when the players come in at league level at under 11 right the way through to senior national team.
And that directive now is to be more possession-based, play off from the back, kind of.
Yeah, like building out from the back. So that all starts with the player development plan. So the player development plan is right from the grassroots game, which, you know, has seen where, for instance, with an under 8s game, where there's a retreat line on the pitch. So the retreat line is there to allow the goalkeeper to have a free pass out to the defender rather than boot it up the pitch.
That's such a clever idea.
Yeah. So like, but this is what I'm saying about our perspective and what people see us as.
Like there's already a plan in place, so like just people aren't seeing it that way.
Yeah, like it's
It's hard to see it though because they're only seeing the main side of it.
that's all they see.
You know what I mean?
They
They're
see,
only-
they
they're
see
not
the results on TV. And,
Yeah.
But you can't blame people though. as
With
well,
the
'cause
wrong
That's
badges.
all they're being shown. You know what I mean? You don't get to see the retreat line at an under-8 game. I've never even heard of it, but it's a great idea. You know.
No, it is. I think it got implemented with us, like when I was coaching at Liffey Valley, and I think it was literally my last year, or no, second last year, it started getting put in place. Do you know what I mean?
Would you have liked that?
Retreat
You were a
line.
goalkeeper. Would you suit that?
I can't remember. Like when I was that age playing football, like it was literally like,
Yeah, it
fucking
wasn't.
ball down and
Yeah.
get it up to fucking Aaron Bean, who'd score 7 goals a game. Do
Well,
you
it's
know
an
what I mean?
extra element. It gets the kids thinking as well, so that's good too.
Yeah.
Next question, Sparky, is from a friend of yours by the name of Mark Joyce. He said, when he trained you 5 days a week, why did he not receive a jersey and Granger did? There's obviously a bit of fucking...
yeah, I tell you what, he did. To be fair, he did. We were down the Colcut nearly every day, and
I don't remember
he'd
that
be booting
myself.
balls at me. And he came out the first time I went for an international assessment. He came out and yeah, you probably should have got a jersey, but I've got one there for you because they're nothing now. You can have one now.
You can have one now,
We'll
Joyce.
take one for the studio as well, Sparky. Fair play, but
Jay, you asked this. I don't even want to ask it.
What one? I'm only
Fucking
asking, but it's not
stupid.
my question. It's actually from
No,
Colin
but
Moyley.
it is your question.
It's
Like,
not
you,
though.
You love that question.
What's your favourite wrestling finishing move?
oh,
Conor
Just
Moyley can take the
embarrassing.
heat on that one because I didn't ask it. No, we'll have that
was
conversation.
it
with him
from
after.
Conor Moyley? Was
Yeah,
it?
you can
If
check.
we can spend the next 45 minutes talking wrestling, I'll be
Moyley's
I
not
know
coming
you
back.
would. That's just hurry up and get it over with.
I go.
People's elbow.
which fella in
Stone Cold Stunner.
which bloke in jocks covered in baby oil do you like watching the most?
The Rock. So I'll go rock bottom.
I say you
Rock.
like his rock all right.
Oh, yeah, listen, The Rock's good. Very
Right.
charismatic.
I was gonna talk about the vlogs and all the shit that happened with me, you and the boys, but I think we're at the going on long enough to talk about all that stuff. So we'll leave that for now and we'll get straight into the quick fire questions before we finish up. That fair enough?
Go for it.
Right. Best player you've ever trained.
What's
One. You've won them.
Just give us a
Ability,
name, yeah.
like ability wise.
Or who you think?
well, see again depends on
the lens.
how much of an impact have I had on them? Like
The
there's,
association loves lenses.
there's so many players that you've had a very minor impact on, and so many players that
Fuck
you've had
the
a
impact.
maximum impact.
Fuck
on.
the impact.
Okay.
We're not saying what player did the most impact. We're asking the best player you've ever trained.
Jason Knight.
Who?
He's at Derby, was he?
He's at Derby now.
Still at Derby?
Okay.
He's involved in the national team now.
In
isn't he?
your opinion, who's the best player in the world?
Currently.
Right now,
Mm.
Mo Salah. I just think like if we're talking about currently form, like you can't go outside Messi or Ronaldo, but right now,
Messi or Ronaldo?
You're a coach. You have
Now,
to
we
answer
know
this.
what he's gonna
would I
say.
have?
Like,
No,
do you know what I
we
mean?
don't know what he's gonna say.
Easy.
The go.
Ah,
The go.
Who?
Ronaldo.
Oh,
I'm
Sparky.
surprised by that.
There you go.
Take that back.
He's
I
a fucking
apologise.
coach. He appreciates the work.
They're both the squad. I take either of them. He's
Yeah.
make me
No,
pick
we
one of
agree.
them.
I think
Take
it's
either,
I
yeah.
think it's a stupid argument. Ronaldo's better.
And you still brought it up.
The greatest manager of all time. This one is definitely not gonna.
Nah, it's a no-brainer.
Should be.
If he's an
In
honest
my
man.
opinion,
I
it
think
should
it's a
be.
no-brainer.
But I
I'm not a
think-
United fan either.
Greatest manager of all time.
Come on,
Brian.
It's killing him.
It's not
Brian
because
Clough or something.
you all want me to say Alex Ferguson.
You're
but
gonna say Brian
I've-
Clough.
I've
I was gonna say Rafa Benitez or something.
Brian Clough at Forest.
best manager of all time.
Bill Shank.
But there's one who will my sway.
Come on, Tony Cousins.
Tony.
He's had biggest impact on me. Right, we go. I always loved Arsene Wenger.
Yes.
I always loved Arsene Wenger. I don't know why.
That's
you
like,
just-
I'm not gonna argue with that.
If you look, I can say the same about Ferguson.
But you just don't want to say Ferguson though.
Well, I tell you why I don't want to say Ferguson. I don't.
Because we're here.
No, because Ferguson was a manager, right? Now I don't claim to know everything about
Where
Alex Ferguson.
Wenger, you think, is more of a coach.
He coached.
I think you, to use your terminology now, I think you and Wenger look at football through the
But
same
the
lens.
fucking question is manager. Who is the best manager? I didn't say who's the best coach, because a coach...
Yeah, Guardiola's
Right.
a coach. He's not
Well,
a manager.
just torn down,
Exactly.
shouty
So-
McGarvey there.
Shut your mouth. Right, so the best manager, would you still say Wenger?
Yeah, go on. He managed the whole club, to be fair to him. He managed the club.
I'm not going to disagree with him. I just want
No,
to know if he still has
no.
the same answer.
I don't know.
This is supposed to be quick fire,
Quick
Sparky.
fire. Well, if I say Ferguson, we move on. If I don't say
Yeah.
Ferguson, then we
We
go
stay
around in
here.
circles. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
such a
So
fair
just
point.
say it.
So,
Say someone else.
Rafa,
Yes, be our own man, Sparky.
Favourite coach you worked under?
as a player,
Yeah.
Froggy.
Froggy's a good skin. I like Froggy.
As
out to
a
Froggy.
manager, or as anything else, as a little boy, as an adult.
I've learned so much from so many, but currently assistant to Paul Osam with the 16s boys, and I've learned so much working with him, and continue to learn so much working with him.
You're Paulo Zam's assistant?
Okay,
I used to remember going
Best-
to see him at Richmond. That's crazy.
no one cares about you, man. Best team you've ever watched?
Pulled that bandana over his mouth.
Best team I've ever watched.
Pep's Barca.
It probably would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Pep's Barca, but the team I enjoyed.
Arsenal.
The team I enjoyed watching most was 2019 Liverpool.
I knew you were going to say that.
So
But
it's
you're a
actually
Liverpool fan.
They
It's
were
unbelievable.
blowing everybody away. It was 4-0 after half an hour in every game.
Okay, next question. Best player you've ever played with, other than me.
Played with.
Not allowed to say me.
Best player I've ever played with.
I want you to say one person.
Who?
Connor.
Conor Clifford.
Mm.
He was a good player. He was a good player.
He's not going on that podcast, Garvey.
Yeah, I
I'll
love.
get him on if I want.
I love playing with Andy Boyle. I love playing with Richie Towell.
Played against him in school final. He was a nightmare.
But
Richie Tower was very good as well, to be fair.
I'll go with Conor Hourhan. I played with him at international football.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Very good.
Man's out here flexing.
Oh, no, that's all that was.
Big
That was
flex,
literally
big
just a flex. Yeah, biggest inspiration in coaching.
Ooh.
I like that. That's a good question.
Thanks. Came up with that myself.
It was so me.
Oh, was
A
it?
person. That's my biggest inspiration in coaching.
Biggest
Oh,
inspiration in
like-
coaching.
Like,
Like
it could be
coaches-
some that from you see on TV or
Yeah,
It
whatever.
could
do
be
you know what I mean?
Granger,
come
it
here,
could be
like-
anyone.
Paulo Zam.
I say to everyone, like, coaches are like, we're like the best robbers. We take something from everybody.
From everyone.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
but one you take the most from.
I'll
Stop
go-
beating
I have to go
around the
Froggy.
bush with
I
this,
have
will
to-
you?
I have to go Froggy.
Sparky,
Right.
if football doesn't work out, you'd be a great politician, mate.
I have to go Froggy, yeah.
This is actually I think you kind of have to go one way. Ireland or Liverpool.
Oh, Ireland. I was born in Ireland. Only started supporting Liverpool.
Yeah, but you get to win silverware with Liverpool.
No, we'll get there.
What was the most difficult moment in your football career or watching, or like what was the hardest moment for you to deal with football related?
Garvey driving the go-kart over him the night before West Ham.
Excuse me.
I'll go two things then. Most difficult, like where it was hard or you feel horrible. One was when I was leaving the Valley to go to Longford and telling the players, because it was 4 months between knowing I was going to Longford and telling anybody other than Derek.
Mm-hmm.
So that was horrific. And then at Longford, the first time we got battered. I mean battered.
What was that? What was battering? What was the score?
It was like 7-0 or something.
8-0, no?
Yes, I don't.
Absolute drubbing.
Why is that the hardest? Like,
Because you just,
that happens in football. Like, do you know what I mean? So like,
but you just start doubting yourself, and everything is just like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out of my depth. All that sort of stuff. And I got a phone call from Tony Cousins, who was the first team manager, and I didn't want to answer it. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to tell him what the fucking
And
score
there
was.
must be a feeling of helplessness, because if you're a player, you can get stuck. You can do a little bit
Yeah.
extra on the pitch. You're
Absolutely.
depending on other people.
Absolutely. And at the time, I was getting a bit of stick from some people,
Who's these people?
and just parents and
Want to call them out?
no.
You have a
Jeff
platform
smashed
to-
them up, won't you?
No, no,
Smash
no.
them up.
He has his fighting bandana on.
Yeah, and people are
Hadouken!
Yeah.
people are
Ken.
saying you're not good enough. People are saying you're too young. People are saying you're not qualified, and then what you're doing is producing,
So you had a bit of the
7
Andres Villas-Boas about you.
It just felt horrific. And Tony was ringing me, and I didn't answer. And I was on the bus. We were on the bus on the way back, and he didn't answer. I didn't answer. I was like, I can't fucking talk to him. And Derek again, you have to answer him. He's fucking ringing you, like. So I answer him, and he just says, "We've all had them days. Don't worry.
Tony is a legend.
Don't worry. I'm 100% behind you. Don't be beating yourself up. You'll have much better days." And actually, met him for a coffee not so long ago, and I never actually got.
What's he doing now?
He's coaching with Shamrock Rovers. Underage.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, underage.
Underage, yeah. And I never got to say, everything that I wanted to say to him when I left, because it was kind of all just happened so quick.
How did you leave, actually? Sorry.
I got the job at the FAI.
That was it, purely.
Yeah, and I said to him, look, I'm getting a job, but it's only for a couple of weeks, so, we'll see how this goes. And then the job got extended a bit more, and he was kind of saying, "Oh, look, could you stick around?" And I was like, "No, I can't keep."
Did he purely have influence over you though? Like, let's say he wanted you out there. Let's say like you just weren't doing it, and he was like, would he have the influence to say, "Hey, look, I need to find someone else"? Get rid of him?
Absolutely, yeah. So he'd done it with the people before us, like, so he's first time manager. He's he's in charge. So, so I met him a couple of weeks ago for a coffee, and I was able to say, "Look, fucking everything you done for me, the opportunity you gave me, the amount of learns I had, how young I was, the risk you took." That time on the phone when we got hammered, all that stuff, just great to be able to say thanks very much. And he was kind of saying, you didn't realise where you were at that time, but I could see and we could see that you were streets ahead of where you should have been, and all we were doing was giving you an opportunity. That was all. But he said, I promise you, we were getting as much out of it as you were. So, yeah.
Makes it all
well, they're part of the stories, aren't they? Like, long for that big part of your story, like.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the memories.
Loved it, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If a book is written, they're a big fucking 13.5 pages in it, aren't they?
So I said it to you on Monday on Astro, I'll be shocked when the story's finished if you don't coach at a League 1 level minimum. I expect to see Sparky in a title race soon enough.
Yeah. I thought, do you know what?
I think...
The only thing is, would he be a suit man or a tracksuit man on the sideline?
Sparky would be Andre Villas-Boas.
That's what I'm saying.
Looking slick, looking sharp, stylish football.
Listen to this, right?
Just a top button open, no tie.
Sparky reminds me, just from past experiences, right? I think Sparky is like a Gary Neville.
No.
Jesus.
He is so
He's
knowledgeable.
had the worst manageable career ever.
Gary Neville's
listen, number one, it was in Spain, right? I would love nothing more than Gary Neville to try coach again in the UK game. I think he gets an awful time over.
Big difference between an analyst and a coach, though.
Mm-hmm.
Look, maybe I'm wrong, but Sparky's... Actually, you know what? Fuck what I just said. The lads didn't believe me when I said that. You don't watch football.
No, outside of Liverpool and obviously the senior team.
Like if you name like a couple of Premier
stuff.
League players to him, like he won't have a clue you're talking about.
So like if you're a big mad Liverpool fan or whatever, how do you keep up with a title race or something? Like you've just, it's literally a case of just checking live score
Game
or
to
something
game,
like that.
Liverpool,
You
that's
don't
it.
bother watching City or City are playing Chelsea and Liverpool fucking.
You'd probably watch a United game if all the lads invited you or something, but
but you wouldn't even watch it then, do you?
I know.
I don't. Look, I just, because you're so immersed in football 24/7, I wouldn't go home and watch a match that didn't involve Liverpool.
Yeah.
Now, like if there's a Champions League final on or something, like it'll be on in the background if you're with lads, but I won't be sitting at home watching it myself, unless I have to do something work related for it.
Just on that, Sparky, like you're very committed to all aspects of fording yourself, even as a coach and a manager outside of football, just well-rounded. So when you hear people like Arsene Wenger, who you mentioned as one of the best managers, saying he will watch football 24/7, how does that hit your ear? Are you like, oh, that's something I need
It's
to be
interesting
doing?
because the last set of kind of goals, objectives, improvement areas that I set myself pre-pandemic was that I said I needed to watch more football to stay, up with modern trends and engage with what was going on in world football. But like even today, say Liverpool and City, like I'm watching it and after 3 minutes I'm completely zoned out.
Like,
it's just there.
Do you ever? Sorry, Martin.
Go on.
Do you ever like just sit down and so when you are watching Liverpool, can you sit down and just watch the match and not nitpick, or are you like seeing things where you're
no? I'm completely just watching the game,
taking walk away from it, like
yeah. So it was funny because someone said to me a couple of weeks ago. So when we deliver coach education, we have like micro groups, so coaches that we work specifically with. So there could be a group of 24, and I would work specifically with 6 of those. So you'd have one-to-one meetings and stuff, and one of the lads was saying, yeah, I watched the Ireland game last night. We were actually at the game. I watched the game and I seen this and I seen that. And I'm thinking, I didn't see any of that.
Really?
I seen nothing. I just seen 11v11 on the pitch, and because you just watch it as a fan. So I find it really difficult to enjoy football. I end up just scrolling, just on my phone, scrolling.
That's crazy.
I find it so difficult unless I am analysing the game, which is me sitting there
Like
with pen and paper.
Today, for example, was a really good end-to-end game. Like,
Yeah.
were we clued into that, or were you too nervous about coming down here? Like, like now, if I was at home, I'd be glued into that. But because I was setting up here, I just had
I wasn't glued into it. As I said, after 3 or 4 minutes, I'm zoned out. I'm just watching it. It's just there. I couldn't tell you like what the systems were. Like, I know how Liverpool play because I watch them all the time, but I couldn't tell you what City done differently to what they might have done
last week.
Yeah.
On that systems thing, I read an article the other day and they were talking about the job Arteta's doing at Arsenal, and it's some new type of coaching called JDF or something, or JDP, Wega the football or something. We're saying Klopp does it, but he changes to play vertically. You ever hear anything about that?
No. Sounds a bit.
He said there was only 5 coaches doing it or something, and that's why clubs are sticking with certain managers. And Arteta was the example. He was trying to implement it.
Right.
You're actually telling me about that. I remember.
Yeah, it was an interesting article because they cut the pitch off in sections, so you only focus on your section. So if the ball is over on the right wing and you're the left full, there's a square on the pitch you're meant to be in.
Yeah, look, like we do that. Like, coaches would do that quite a lot. You split the pitch vertically and horizontally. You might put it into five zones, and when you're working, you've got areas of the pitch that people need to be in at specific times. So that would be
just reactionary. If the ball's over there, I need to be here, so just get over and stuff.
But it's more like a pattern for a player, so they know when the ball's in a certain area, this is where I need to be consistently, But
the last question, Sparky, is
this must be the longest podcast ever, is it?
Believe it or not, it's not, but it's long enough.
I'm holding the piss a good solid hour.
Oh, mate, you've no idea.
Just go.
I was
sorry to lower the tone, but I am bursting.
Just leave it on the large.
No, I'm professional.
Just
I'm
go.
here, I'm walking. Just get on with it.
There's no
We're
issue,
here to
lads.
do a
You don't need to ask to go to the toilet. Just fucking
Here's
go.
me.
You'll hear
thinking-
stranger things now when this bottle starts filling up in a second. Watch.
I'm thinking at the start of who's gonna. I've said to you during the week or whenever you said it to me, like, who's gonna want to listen to shit about me? Let alone
I
fucking
told you, you're the first person I asked for.
2
Sparky.
hours.
I was dying to talk to you.
Martin actually requested you.
Yeah.
Martin,
When I got into this, I was like, I'd love to talk to Sparky about.
Do you know what? I can't do it, man. I need to go.
Go. Martin requested you when you were Martin's number 1. And look, don't get me wrong. This is a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Interesting. I talk about football all night.
It is interesting, but
no problem.
it's a very
Personal.
Specific is
The Pacific is a body of water, Jason.
Yeah.
fuck off.
Grammar police.
Like, you're only going to have a certain amount of people that are into football actually listening to this, whereas our podcasts are normally a wider range.
I mean,
But that's why we include. That's why we include the funny stories at the start and stuff, But
you didn't go too deep on the football either. Not like intricate coaching stuff.
yeah, well, how long is the podcast running for now?
We are, what are we, 2:26 into it, 30 minutes at the start.
2:26.
Well, our run time is 2 hours and 56 minutes, 30 minutes at the start.
Oh
We need to
yeah.
snip. So 2:26.
Yeah, 2:26. The last question was, Sparky, the greatest achievement in football so far.
Long hour list, mate. What?
I got asked this question in an interview at one stage, and it threw me. And I'm going to answer it the same way I answered it then.
Every day is a new achievement.
Just the kind of body of work, experience, accomplishments that I have to the age that I am would be
100% agree with you.
in a broad spectrum. That would be the kind of thing that if you thought would be.
Like I was only talking to Jay Farrell.
It's a gradual kind of achievement.
Like I don't want to pick out one specific thing. Like you could say, we talked about being proud. So being proud, the proudest moment or whatever what was Dylan playing for Ireland, and that will always be that because
but
that was. It's hard to explain exactly the feeling that you get when one of
we can imagine
your own players. And he feels like I don't know what it'd be like if one of your kids played for him, but that's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah.
So, but if we're talking about my biggest achievement now, it's very difficult because at every stage of my career or whatever you want to call it,
He definitely didn't wash his hands.
no,
Go on.
Pissy fingers.
there's been a gradual step forwards all the time. It's always been like next step, and each of them at the time felt like the biggest thing ever. And people always say to me like, how come you never went away? How come you never like went to America coaching or anything like that? And I always say, I wish I did, but I always had something here that kept me here.
Yeah,
Something,
sorry, go on.
something that was like bigger than the next thing, you know, bit bigger than the last thing, I should say. The next thing is bigger. So if you ask what's the biggest achievement, like it could be
Your wife.
If we're talking about football, you know?
Funny joke.
There was a few years there you were screaming out for players on trials in America and coaches to go to America. What was that all about?
No idea, but I was working for a scholarship company trying to get players across the.
It just blew up
the
overnight.
US,
There was years.
So if you say like what's the biggest achievement, all of them felt like the biggest achievement at the time. So I would say that everything encompassed in that for being 30. I know I'm not young anymore, but I feel like I'm very well experienced.
Great.
I have a decent level of knowledge, and then you know every day's a school day. You never finish learning, but I would say that you know everything together by the age of 30 is not bad. You know.
Great answer, mate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just to elaborate on your question there, saying like, I don't know why people would want to listen to me. There's a lot of people that look up to you, Sparky. There's a lot of people that inspire me, being one of them. I am very proud of where you are. As much as we haven't really been that close, I'd still fucking do anything for you. I still clash as me little brother. Anyone ask me who my best mate is, even though we don't spend time together, you're still the number one name on my list. It's funny actually when I joked with Sparky one time saying, "Oh, Kelly's pregnant and you're godfather." Do you remember that?
Funny joke.
It was a joke, and then she actually did get pregnant, and only
You couldn't pick Sparky
Wait
as a
till
godfather, was it?
listen. The only reason Mousy got it over Sparky, and I don't care what Mousy thinks about this, is that Mousy is the reason I was with Kelly. He introduced us, so that was the only deciding factor. Otherwise, I would have had Ben you. Do you know what I mean? And I always had planned on being you, but just how things planned out. Sorry, Mousy. Just how things planned out. That's how it worked. But
It's going to be a rift in the group chat.
A lot of people respect you around the area, Sparky. And after me having Keith and Pamela on, we had a couple on last week who their kids are they're having a lot of issues, and they're trying to fund getting an extension on the house and stuff. And it just made me like, obviously we had you planned on coming on anyway, but another person from the area reached out, and I'm like, oh, I want to kind of highlight the people in the area now. I was saying this to you lads after Keith and Pamela came on. Like, I think there's so many people in this area that have achieved so much, whether it be yourself, who aren't recognised enough, whether it be Enya Martin, whether it be the Keith and Pamela, whether it be the people who are in our DMs telling us the stories that they're going through, and
it's not all negative. Let's be fair. It's not always like
all
sad
positive
stories as well. Like,
positive,
but in the sense that like
No,
someone
but
has a
even
good story to come on and share.
all
do you know
the
what I mean?
stories. Like, there's a few negative stories, but like overall, it's positive. You know what I mean?
100%.
And it just brought me to. Oh, fuck, I want to highlight the area a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't care if we're a local podcast or we don't. Do you know what I mean? Once we're getting good stories out there and everything else, which yours is a good story. Like you said, you're only 30 years of age. You're at the progressing very far in your career for such a young age.
You're already coaching 16 years. Like,
yeah,
about
like,
that, do you know what I mean? Fucking nuts.
You
Longer
look
than half
at,
your life.
like, I'm sure you're an inspiration to Gary. Is it Gary? Gary, your sisters? Oh, yes, yeah. Jesus.
Darren, is it?
Darren. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like, and
Sorry,
your story
Gary.
is interesting, like, how you've got to where you've got. The fact that you, like, I'm sure there's loads of footballers that will probably, hopefully, that will probably listen to this and say, geez, that's how we felt when I was playing. Like, I wanted to go abroad, but I didn't want to go abroad. Do you know what I mean? So people will resonate with you, and that's what it's all about. But overall, how did you find it?
It's gone way longer than I thought it was going to
Likewise.
You're in trouble when you get home, Spark. Same with yourself.
Definitely in big trouble. Yeah, look, it's as I said at the start, it's out of my comfort zone for 2 or 3 minutes, and then after that, it's just you're just kind of chatting. I don't know. I won't listen to a back one. That's for certain.
Because you don't have a spare 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be 3 hours once we edit the start.
Yeah, absolutely. No, because I'll end up just
critiquing yourself.
you're being unhappy with certain things or the way you answered certain things, whatever. So
Yeah, I said a few things where I'm like, fuck.
It's good,
Go on.
to correct yourself because you speak in public forums all the time, so you can watch it back.
But
in a
that's,
sense.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit like, I know how you are normally, and I know you're very professional when you're when you're in the public eye, and you have been very professional here. But I also know the other side of you as well that's a little bit sloppy, and I'm kind of I wish we see more of that side. But that's just a testament to how serious you take your job and all, because you didn't let that side come out when you are professional.
they said to Martin before we came on, like there's probably I am quite private in the sense that I don't do mad social media or anything like that, but there's probably two of me, there's probably like maybe what you're talking about there, like the way I am around my friends and stuff, and then obviously if you work for a professional organisation, then you've got to be professional. So I don't know who's going to listen to this or how many people are going to listen to this. So
6.
The truth is, we're all like that. You all have to behave a certain way in work. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
The trick with this is just forgetting that it's being watched and just talk shit with your mates.
Yeah.
But
in general, I've been happy enough. Hopefully someone listens.
you're
to
comfortable anyway.
Yeah. Outside of the first couple of minutes, as I said, that was always going to be the case, and that's why. Other than the fact that you asked me, that I said I'd done it. Like I've done some little interviews. I actually recorded a podcast that never made the light of day before, but it was different to this because it was through Zoom, and it was just sitting at home, so it was a little bit odd.
Who was that with? Do you mind me asking? What was it for?
It was a football podcast. The podcast never took off.
Right.
The lad that was doing it was just a local lad, and
I'm looking for a replacement for Jay, so if he wants to.
I'm not,
give
I'm
us
not
a
even,
shout.
don't even know if
But-
he still does. But it's saying that like so I've done that, and I've done some interviews and stuff before, but like this for me, I seen it as right. As I said, I always tell people you need to step outside your comfort zone. That's where you grow. That's where you develop. So I've got to look at things for me and say, right, when you asked me, my first instinct would be to say no, because I'm not comfortable doing that.
Now, can I ask you a question, right? Because obviously we both know how things have gone in the past and all. Now, this isn't the personal shit I was talking about, but obviously we all know we're doing vlogs, right? We all know how that went and whatever. When I asked you to do the podcast, was there a little bit of that kind of, do you know what I mean? Oh, what's this? Is this another fucking...
No.
Truthfully.
No, because like I know what the podcast has been or has done already. So I know the vibe of it. And my only concern was that you would stitch me up some way, shape or form, which you did, because one, you told me it was going live a half an hour out.
I genuinely thought you knew that, but go on.
And two, you told me you'd send...
I did. I gave you the questions before we went live.
No. You said we'd send talking points.
Yeah.
So as that I'd know, which we've just gone and talked for 2 hours about God knows what.
You wish it was 2 hours, mate. We're looking at that in the rear view.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would have been my only concern. But the big thing would have been that I just want to do something that's outside of what I'm comfortable with. So
Right. So after doing it, did it go how you thought it'd go?
pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I thought we would.
This feels like an after the podcast conversation.
It
Yeah,
does,
let's fuck it. Let's just run it. Like, there's only two. We're finishing up now in a second. Anyway,
Do you have
so.
more questions out of that list?
No, it's all done. Well, what do you think of the shootout?
Yeah, it's cracker, isn't it?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Mm?
Yeah.
Me and Garvey
Did you
painted that one weekend.
did you expect it to be like this? Like when you walked in, did you?
Well, I've kind of seen the stuff online and that, so
We're not liking our share now. What is that?
You're a fan of the show.
I don't.
This is the part where you get on the spot. Why aren't you sharing me shit? Now look, I understand, and the reason I'm asking you, Sparks, is because I know whether it be our group of friends or the group of friends that we were with once upon a time have a certain perspective of me, and I think that drowns out things like this that I'm doing now because of me past. Whether it be fucking the pick a number, the fucking Ireland's finest models, or the vlogs. This to me is the creme de la creme. This is the winner. So I kind of half wanted to bring you on as well to show you how serious this is and where it can go, and hopefully after being on the show you can take it a bit more serious. And whether, like, I don't know, like, from me being with yous around the boys, you know yourself, every time we go out with yous now after what happened in the past, it always comes up. Oh, Garvey, shouldn't have done that, and I apologise for that. Like, it's annoying. And I think I told you this at Mousie's one time. But now I'm hoping that, like, the podcast is taken serious. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that through the conversations that we've had, I think, including this one, I think it needs that respect to get to the next level. Do you know what I mean? Like we're talking about, like we said, Jay, bringing more local people on, and I think we need people like you, being a strong personality in the group, to talk good about it. Do you know what I mean? So, did you have any of them feelings of what I'm talking about regarding the vlogs to this? Like, was there, like, for example, just be honest, was there any, like, oh, Sparky, you're going on the podcast and the WhatsApp? Was there anything like that?
No, absolutely.
That wasn't.
I didn't tell.
I'm glad to hear that.
Didn't really tell anybody that I was coming on it, other than.
Have we seen that? I expected you to fucking share it when I announced it, like.
Is that because you were scared?
No, it's just because I'm.
But that's what I'm asking him. Like, is it because of how things have gone for me in the past that you were unsure?
No.
And you were like, I'm in the middle of something here. I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah,
back.
I feel like this whole thing was just a 3-hour waste of our time, so Garvey could get on Sparky about what his mates are saying about him.
No, I just want to. I just want to know if that perception, anyway. If the perception is still there. Do you know what I mean? And you know what perception I'm talking about.
I couldn't tell you because I haven't spoke to anyone about it. That's being honest. I spoke to.
But for you, it's not.
No.
Okay, and that's fair enough.
No, absolutely not. No.
Right. So we had a good time, and that's the podcast. Jay, thanks for coming. Any final words?
No, happy to be here. Fair play now.
You look at lying back in your seat.
Yeah. Obviously you're fucking, like you said, out of your comfort zone at the start, but fair play, it was good. And I think the reason like it went so long, like obviously we have our like our time limit that we usually like to shut off by, but I think the fact that like normally with episodes we try and kind of like cater to everyone who's watching to try and make sure they enjoy it somehow. I think this was just 4 lads enjoying a good conversation. You know what I mean? I think that's why it went where it went.
There's a lot of good points as well in it there.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but and I think we all enjoyed it. That's why it went as long as it went. So yeah, unfortunately we kept you a little bit longer, but it was good. Thanks very much for coming on.
Muria, you got your guest?
Got me guest. Appreciate it, lads. Appreciate you coming on, Sparky, as well. Yeah, I think you done very well
think
as well,
Sparky's seen your face once today.
I'm over here walking hard.
In fairness, the monitor is higher than what it normally is.
I'm using one hand to hold me Mickey because I need to go to the toilet the last hour and a half. Jesus.
Right, on that note, Sparky, anything you want to touch on before we go? Anything you need to promote or any...
No, God, no. Listen,
God, no.
Just get me out here.
Don't follow me on Twitter. I don't want to talk to you. Don't follow me on Instagram.
I've enjoyed it, and as I said, there was probably as much in it for me as there was for you, because it's I would see it as part of my development or whatever. So hopefully someone took something from it, from the 2.5 hours or whatever we've been. But no, generally I've enjoyed it and appreciate the opportunity to come on, and I would expect an invite to the wrestling one when that's happening.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm still trying to get that. Trust me. Do you know what? He said that he wouldn't mind some little side shows. You come on with me and do it, because I need fucking someone.
Stop him, Garvey. He's going to start talking about wrestling.
I know. Go. Martin, finish it up. Sparky, thanks again, lads. Thanks. It's been good. Take us out, Muria.
Thanks, lads.